everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be the horoscopes for all 12 of the zodiac signs that we are going to be looking at for the month of April 2022. Thanks for joining me, for coming back. Big thank you to all of the members, everybody who's been liking, commenting, and sharing on my channel. I appreciate it. It's been really helping the channel grow. If you are interested in my memberships, please do consider taking a look. It is on the tabs on my page. I have 3 different levels that you can get in for, 3 different tiers to be able to support. So if you like watching my horoscopes, if you like watching my astro weather or my moon videos, and you want more content, the more support that I can get, whether that's through memberships or donations, the more I'm able to do for you guys. So just a big thank you to everybody who's been supporting. Also, I'm going to be starting a beginner's astrology course that is going to begin on April 3rd, 2022. We're going to be meeting on Sunday mornings and Thursday nights for the period of several weeks this April. So if you would like to learn astrology with me from the beginning, please do take a look at my links below. I am going to be teaching this course. Very excited to be back. I have not taught beginner's astrology in a couple years. It's going to be interactive in a classroom live via Zoom. We're going to start at the very beginning and get down and dirty with how to assess the chart, how to make astrology relatable and work for you. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you want to know my techniques, the astrology softwares that I use, how I assess the chart, and learn all about the planets and the archetypes, it's a great way to get in and kind of get your feet wet. Eventually, it will evolve into an intermediate and an advanced class, and I'm also probably going to be doing a tarot course as well. So if you guys sign up, I only have a few spots left before we close the deadline for students. Please do take a look because I'm offering $100 off to anybody who wants to join the class live. Pretty good deal. Also, I will be having availabilities for booking now starting in May of 2022. So I'm usually booked anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks out at a time. It just depends. Things are getting kind of busy with the eclipses. So if you are having a birthday coming up, if you're an Aries, a Taurus, or a Gemini, and you want that birthday reading, I recommend going on my website and reserving time. I offer full or half-hour sessions. They are live one-on-one recorded on Zoom. It's a combination of what I see within the natal horoscope or transits, along with what the tarot cards are saying, and kind of working in a little bit of a clairvoyant reading. So it's a bit of a triple threat. All right, so thank you guys for letting me get that out of the way. I appreciate it. I hope it's a good month ahead for you, and we are going to now get into the April horoscopes. All right, well, welcome to April 2022. This is going to be horoscopes and reviews for all of the 12 zodiac signs by me, Candice Marie of Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. All right, so the month kicks off. Boy, oh boy, is it a busy one, guys. I cannot stress that enough. April is going to be a very active month. This is going to be a general overview for horoscopes, the most prominent transits that I'm looking at for the 12 signs and how it's going to affect you. This is probably only a fraction of the transits that I'm looking at compared to the April 2022 monthly address. So if you want more of a general prediction and if you want to know all of the transits, be sure to check that video out. Well, transits that catch my eye this month, I gotta tell you, it really starts with April 2nd when we see the Sun in Aries come into conjunction with Mercury in Aries. A lot of walking the walk, talking the talk, new beginnings and opportunities and self-awareness, and being a little bit more self-focused or a little bit more assertive, because this is a lot of cardinal energy. Just coming off of the new moon that we had in Aries, and also the fact that now it is Aries season. So we are now in the start of the astrological new year. It's going to kind of feel like the new year. Energies are going to move forward a little bit more. Great time for setting intentions and just really sticking to the plan. Now on the 4th of April, we're going to see that Mars in Aquarius comes into a conjunction with Saturn. I've spoken about this quite a bit on my channel. I let you guys know that there are going to be quite a few conjunctions to Saturn in Aquarius, which represents karmic turning points. When we mash up Saturn, the Lord of karma and restriction, obligation, maturity, with Mars in Aries, Mars in Aquarius, with Mars in Aquarius, it feels like there is a need to refine the way that we are taking action, right? So Mars in Aquarius deals a lot with the movement of groups, or the mob mentality, or how everybody is reacting to social change, right? So Saturn's going to bring the restriction or the limitation or the responsibility, and Mars is going to bring the friction or the need to push to break through or break free. So Saturn's going to keep reining it in a little bit. It is uncomfortable. It can bring about the energy of conflicts, arguments, fights, and people pushing back against restrictions or limitations. So depending on where this falls in your chart, it's really important to pay attention. It is going to represent something that's about kind of like finishing or wrapping up a lesson that's been going on for quite some time. In recent weeks, we had Venus go through the conjunction with Saturn, representing some karmic issues in relationships or values, and where we need to update or upgrade our view of love, or I guess values in general, right? Whether that's resources, money, food, what feels good, tastes good, and it's stronger commitments when it comes to love and relationships. Now here comes Mars, which is basically going to follow up, and it's going to be the action that is as a response to some of those decisions in regards to the changes or the leveling up in your values. So for some, it is a bit of a more difficult energy, but to be honest with you guys, it's, I think, more just helping us come up with an action plan and stay the path when it comes to committing to what we love, especially in regards to our hopes and dreams. Regardless, watch for this day when it comes to relating to other people, and avoid conflict if at all possible. On April 5th, Venus moves into the mutable water sign of Pisces. Oh, thank God. We've had Venus in Saturn-based signs really since November of 2021. So it's going to be nice to get Venus into a water sign where Venus is very happy and exalted in the sign of Pisces. Very romantic, dreamy, inspirational. It's going to be wonderful. It'll be a nice relief after coming off of all these conjunctions to Saturn and squares to the nodes. And later in the month, we'll see Venus come into a super conjunction with Jupiter and Neptune. On the 11th of the month, we're going to see Jupiter in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Now, this is something that I'm creating a separate video for. Don't worry, it's coming. But when we bring together the energy of Jupiter, the sage, the philosopher, the belief system, and Neptune, which can deal with other worlds, mysticism, spirituality, religion, it's going to go one of two ways. Now, I'll go deeper in my weeklies and also in the monthly and talk to you guys about how this is going to pan out. But it gives us the opportunity for spiritual renewal. I think the energy of vibration, music, healing, peace, beliefs, prayers are very important. It can give us this feeling of almost being baptized in a new belief system, and really help us go deeper when it comes to really becoming more aware of what our spiritual goals are. Big feelings can be big waterworks with this conjunction, and this is a very rare conjunction that happens in the sign of Pisces about every 180 years or so. So I'm looking forward to see how this pans out for everybody. I do believe it can give us the opportunity to really go higher with our awareness and also our meditation or spiritual practices. On the flip side, for some of us, it can also have us spiral out a little bit and get into like the Pisces pandemonium of chaos, especially when it's getting into the later degrees of Pisces and we're going to start to see it affect the world, right? So the higher vibration is more spiritual awareness, more sacrifice for the common good, willing to be more empathic, emotional, charitable. The darker side is people can indulge a little bit more in drugs and alcohol. There can be issues and disturbances with sleep, kind of some culty vibes. Like I said, we'll get into it in the video, so it's just something to be mindful of. Then on the 14th of the month, Mars enters Pisces. So we've got a Pisces party, man. Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune. A little unusual for Aries season to have this many planets that are in a sign that is 12 signs that is, behind Aries. So it may feel a little bit more sluggish this month than usual. Mars does not do so well in Pisces. Technically, it does better in a fire sign. So when we see it in the mutable, changeable water sign of Pisces, it kind of feels like driving with the brakes on. There is a sense of us needing to be more aware of our emotional reactions and drives, and the fact that we need to feel inspired. We may need more rest, or there may be a sense of really needing to practice more grounding and being in our body. Nevertheless, seeing Mars coming out of the more rebellious sign of Aquarius, especially with its conjunctions to Saturn, I think it's going to be a little bit of a reprieve. And those of you guys who keep asking me, when is this energy going to calm down? We're looking at closer to May going into June. After the eclipses, and once both Mars and Jupiter have ingressed into Aries, you guys are going to feel a fresh start. So give yourself a little bit of credit. If you guys need to relax a little bit more, sleep a little more, and pay better attention to your mental health, so be it. On the 17th of the month, we're going to see the 17th of the month, we're going to see Mercury in Taurus come into a conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. Now, this is a day to watch. Lots of sporadic communication, sudden emails, conversations that come out of the blue. It can be aha moments where it's almost like a light switch turns on and you have an epiphany. You may find that it is a little erratic. There can be more stress or tension just with the exchange of information, especially if there's some unsettling news that can affect us financially or in terms of rattling us when it comes to our security, because it's in the fixed earth sign of Taurus. Now, more on that later in the month, but I would say this is a day that if you are traveling, if you're moving, if you're trying to negotiate a business deal, if you're trying to sign a lease, anything that involves business or really needing to look into the fine print, may want to avoid this day. On the 18th of the month, the Sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn, and we are going to be faced with some sort of power struggle or something in our life that represents a challenge, or perhaps maybe even something that scares us that needs to be kind of wiped out, right? Pluto, god of the underworld, making an aspect to the Sun in Aries, is really showing us that this is the first time since really closer to the beginning of January that we're willing to do the work and be more action-oriented when it comes to holding ourselves accountable for moving out of old toxic habits and patterns. On the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius. And so this is something else to watch. Another day that's a difficult communication day. Delays when you're driving to work, possibly issues with sealing the deal business-wise. Whenever Mercury is in a square, it will hinder and create some kind of conflict revolving around communication or travel. Now, when it's squaring Saturn in Aquarius, it's basically saying that you may have a situation where there is like a meeting of the minds with somebody. You may not see eye to eye on a friendship situation or a financial situation, or when it comes to your goals in regards to resources, you're hitting a bit of a snag or a bump in the road. So that'll be a day to watch when it comes to communicating with others. Watch for conflict on social media, on websites, online. I think there's going to be a lot of keyboard warriors. I'll get into it later. But that is definitely a day where communication could be a little bit more blocked up. Then on the 27th of the month, we see Venus in Pisces come into conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. Very dreamy, whimsical, creative, very poetic. I mean, I love a good Venus-Neptune conjunction. Maybe it's just me. It almost feels like Cinderella or some kind of like fairy tale romance. But when it's in Pisces, this can be a day that's extra romantic, great for poetry, writing music, anything where we want to feel very divinely inspired, really great for taking photos, being by the beach, and just really feeling those Venusian vibes. Now, like I said, Venus is exalted in Pisces, so with that conjunction to Neptune, it's very otherworldly, and the end of the month with this conjunction is really beautiful because I feel like it gives us the ability to kind of wave the white flag and have peace at the end of the month after what has been some very intense exchanges and interactions and just changes in regards to relationships. Then on the 30th, we're going to see a new moon solar eclipse in the fixed sign Taurus. Now, this is the second Taurus eclipse that we've had in this series of eclipses. We had one back in mid-November, around the 19th of November, that was also in Taurus. This is a new moon. So it is about setting new intentions. However, this is a new moon that is very active. It's conjunct Uranus, which is the planet of rebellion, evolution, change, shifting things, freedom. So it's shaking things up big time. New opportunities for everybody. So you're going to want to look at where Taurus is in your chart. And one thing I would say is that the ruler of this eclipse is Venus, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. And at the time of the eclipse, Venus is conjunct both Neptune in Pisces and Jupiter in Pisces. I guess the silver lining is that it makes me feel like whatever is kind of changing or evolving is happening for our higher spiritual good. There is a silver lining. We'll see a pot of gold on the other side. Likely there's meant to be more love, security, romance, abundance. And also, I think a lot of just like giving and nurturing and being more empathic and more sensitive to other people. So overall, pretty good omen, even in spite of the conjunction to Uranus, which can kind of rattle us a little bit. Now, if you're looking for more insight on the eclipses, both the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, which will be happening on the 30th, and then the full moon lunar eclipse that's going to be happening in Scorpio, those videos are coming soon. I'm going to do separate videos for that, and I'm going to be putting out for you guys in the weeks ahead, so just stay tuned for that. They will have more details as to, ritual tips, the energy, and also 12 tarot cards for each and every one of the 12 signs. I'm going to get those out probably in the next week or so you guys have time to prepare. But in this video, I will let you know where that eclipse is taking place and just some things that you can expect from those eclipses. So let's go ahead and get to the month ahead. Please listen for your sun, moon, and rising sign. Personally, I recommend for my predictions to look first at the rising sign, because that's likely to be what's physically going to transpire. So if you want to know what's likely to actually happen, listen to your rising sign. If you want to listen for your sun sign, totally fine. That's going to give you more insight. Those predictions do manifest, but it's much more about how you're relating to what's changing in your life. It may affect more so your career or just your identity in general. And then your moon sign is going to relate to you on an emotional level. And I definitely feel like it's important to listen to your moon sign, because it's going to give you some indications of where things are going pertaining to your emotions and also your fortune. Now, this is a tropical Western horoscope prediction. And if you would like to listen to your progress chart, you can do that as well. So let's go ahead and get into it, and we are going to start off with Aries and Aries rising. Aries, welcome to April 2022. I hope you're doing well. If it is your birthday this month, happy birthday, Aries, the zodiac baby. I'm really stoked to see how the month goes for you. Let's go ahead and get into my predictions. Now, on the 2nd of the month, we are going to see a new moon that's happening in your sign. That means new moon, new you. When it comes to your appearance, how you look, how you're feeling, how you want to carry yourself, it's important to set intentions on this moon. It can be a great time to get a haircut, or maybe just make a decision where you're going to cut something out of your life. Maybe you want to clean out the closet, set some new health or wellness goals, or just anything in regards to your personal drive, what's important to you. Mercury is in conjunction to this moon, so one thing I would say is you want to take into consideration, it definitely has to do with organization, health, wellness. Maybe you're making a tweak with your diet. Maybe you're committing to a gym membership. Maybe you are just about getting organized right now and feeling like until you get organized, then everything is going to come together. We've got Jupiter coming into your sign in a couple of months, so you're going to start feeling those new shifts and new changes, and your energy levels are going to be back on track. Don't worry, it's coming. Now, on the 4th of the month, we're going to see Mars in Aquarius come into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. And this is important because Mars rules your chart. So keep in mind that when Mars and Saturn come into conjunction, you are having to learn how to totally get focused, commit, and do something in regards to a group. So it can be about you needing to learn how to work with a new group. Maybe you're training or leading a new group. Maybe you're wanting to network and you're wanting to join a new affiliation. Maybe you're starting your own group. Regardless of what it is, you have to play nice with other people. Saturn is saying it's a lesson that you need to learn. It's also about you really showing up and being a part of a tribe. So you can have some conflict with friends that can arise if you're not willing to make changes and shifts, so you can actually make more time for your friends. Some of you guys have been feeling like hiding out. Friends can get a little agitated and feeling like they're calling you, and you're like hiding under a rock. watch out for conflict around that day, but I do have to tell you that it is very important for you to be aligning yourself with a group or a network to help you fulfill your dreams. Now, on the 5th of the month, Venus enters into Pisces. It's going into your 12th house, very sexy. I really feel like it's great for expanding on any spiritual kind of mindedness. Perhaps maybe you're focusing more on photography as a hobby. Maybe you are having a little bit of romantic time away with somebody, getting a little bit of like rest and recuperation by the beach somewhere. Maybe you're focusing more on just recovering and regrouping and kind of pulling your energy in and just focusing more on healing and wellness. But because Venus rules your indulgence sector and also your sector that deals with relationships, it can be a wonderful time where you can just have a lot of romance behind the scenes. Now, on the 11th of the month, Jupiter in Pisces is going to come into conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. So once again, I kind of get this impression that if you're not traveling, you're looking into travel, maybe you're thinking about just taking a break away from it all, imagining or manifesting a place that you could go to. Maybe it's a retreat, maybe it's a spiritual course. It is possible that you have found somebody that you want to travel with or somebody that you want to learn from. But you have to go to them or you have to learn a new belief system or a new spiritual practice in order to participate. But Jupiter and Neptune coming together give you the opportunity to really tune into your intuition, your goals, and really focus on visualization. Many of you are still kind of in rest mode. Totally fine. Pay attention to your dreams. I think your intuition can be very strong this month and you can literally start seeing visions of things in the future. If you're feeling a little bogged down, definitely rest, but do consider not just totally binging on Netflix and hanging out and drinking and taking naps. I would say come up with a plan where you can regularly be meditating towards your goals every day, asking for guidance, making time for prayer, but most importantly, create a vision board. In doing so and sitting with that, you're really going to start seeing in the months ahead, it may really start manifesting. So make time to do that, put it somewhere you're going to see it every day. Even if it's on your cell phone, even if it's on your desktop, it doesn't matter. It can be on a wall or just somewhere where you're going to see it because I want it to get into your consciousness where you're looking at those images and you're reflecting on it every day. Please do that while Venus is in Pisces. Now on the 14th of the month, you're going to see Mars enter into Pisces as well in your 12th house. I'm liking Mars and Venus in the 12th. Some of you guys are having some major love affair romance behind the scenes. Some of you guys may be feeling like certain relationships are coming to an end. Now, regardless of how it pans out, I have to tell you the conjunction to Jupiter tells me that it is positive, it is abundant. It does give you the ability to possibly even have some kind of romantic connection behind the scenes or even in a faraway place. So if you've met somebody who you're kind of connecting to who's different culturally or lives somewhere else, it would not surprise me with some of these conjunctions. Now, Mars in your 12th house makes me feel like you are going to feel probably a little sleepier, a little bit more run down than usual. It can be really helpful to stay active and be moving and participating in dance. That can be a really great way for just releasing some of the energies very gradually and not feeling like you're overdoing it or burning yourself out. On the 17th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus, and it looks to me like a little bit of shocks going on, you know, with stuff relating to what you're eating, changes, adapting to new diets. Possibly this is a situation where you get a little bit of like rattling news financially, or you just need to make a change or switch up in how you're handling your money and your resources. Maybe you're hiring somebody new to do your taxes. Maybe you're using a new program to better manage your budget or your diet. Regardless, there is going to be some new opportunity to upgrade and kind of innovate when it comes to how you're handling either your resources or maybe even what you're eating, okay? Definitely a little bit more of like a nervous day though. The Mercury conjunction with Uranus can kind of have you a little bit on edge, so just be mindful of that. And on the 18th of the month, we see the Sun in Aries come into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. Now, to me, it looks like this is a bit of a power struggle. It may be with a superior, it can be with a boss or even a parent. So it is possible that there was a little bit of like an intense standoff. Maybe you're realizing that you're changing and you're evolving out of an old, outdated way of being, or maybe you're moving out of an old, outdated title or status in the world. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. On the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius, and it seems to me like there is a bit of friction that can kind of come about in regards to your goals and also your resources. If you are borrowing or lending money with a friend, it can get a little sticky. There can be a sense of you weighing your options and asking yourself, do I want to let this friendship go? Do I want to hold on to them? Do I feel like they value me? And a little bit of back and forth in that regard. Now, I feel like you want to watch for being a little bit more confrontational. This can definitely bring up some issues in regards to you speaking out and somebody not necessarily agreeing. On the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces comes into a conjunction with Neptune. Wonderful day for a spiritual retreat, spending time by the pool, focusing on your dreams, maybe meeting somebody or having a vision of somebody before you see them. There can be unexpected connections in love that feel very spiritual or very divine. Then on the 30th of the month, we are going to see Venus conjunct Jupiter in Pisces, and that is a big day for spiritual lessons or karmic lessons in regards to relationships. You may find a cause that you really align with where you want to give support or receive support. It can be a time where somebody comes into your life also to help you heal, okay, or give you like a renewal of your faith. That same day on the 30th, there's going to be a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, and that will be in your second house of resources. So this is all going to be about you setting some wheel in motion when it comes to completely, I think, reworking your self-esteem, how you're making money, switching things up. You may have somebody who comes in who says, hey, I can offer you a new way to bring in more resources. Maybe you start working with a friend. But regardless, this is the eclipse to really shake things up and innovate when it comes to your money and your resources. So great day to focus on setting intentions for abundance. I will tell you that between this eclipse and the one that will happen in mid-May, there's going to be lots of changes with your resources. I know that you are having to be a lot more responsible for making your own money. The North Node eclipses in your second house are about building your wealth, your earning power, the money you make, the things you own. And I think that maybe you're learning some ways to be able to bring money in easier. So that way you feel like, you're on the right path, right? But you and Libra are both going to go through some of the big changes in regards to just shifts revolving around your finances. So watch out for that eclipse. There can be an unexpected expense or also something that unexpectedly comes in right around the end of April into early May. Now let's see what's going on and what the cards have to say for the month ahead for you, Aries, and what their predictions are. Ooh, the card that I get is the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups makes me feel like there's a lot of like quiet contemplation, a lot of like going back and forth and reevaluating, especially if you're in a situation where you're feeling unfulfilled. So if it's a lot of like, hey, this doesn't make me feel good, a lot of changes. Understand that a lot of the squares between Saturn and Aquarius and Uranus in your second house of resources is trying to get right with making money or bringing in security in a way that feels like it's in alignment with your goals. And there can be lots of fluctuations. So I feel like if you are feeling unfulfilled and if you're feeling like you need to reevaluate either or just something that used to bring you security, now is the time to do it. I will also say to you that with the Four of Cups, do not overlook the fact that something is being offered to you kind of in replacement. So in this card, here, I'll show you. You can kind of see that there is a cup that is being handed to them, that's being offered to them, but she's sitting there and she's kind of like moping and she's doing her thing and she doesn't quite see the fact that there is a new opportunity right in front of her. It could be a new love, it could be a new interest, it could be a new passion, it could be anything that would be standing right in front of you. So it's possible that there are things that could bring you resources or things that could bring you abundance that you're really good at or something that you really love, but you're not quite seeing it. So I would say try to take a step back if you're feeling a little overwhelmed or indifferent. It's very likely that you may be feeling some sense of discontent, but I think that that's supposed to be coming up right now, so it helps you actually create change. watch out for those new opportunities. They're right around the corner. And if you overlook them, I think you're going to be kicking yourself, because I think that there might be something that you love that's right in front of your face. You just haven't seen it yet. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead now and get into Taurus and Taurus rising. Taurus, welcome to April 2022. If you are one of my April Tauruses, happy birthday. I hope it is a good birthday for you. The month is going to kick off on the 2nd of April, where we have a Sun in Aries conjunct Mercury in Aries aspect. So this is happening for you, the Sun and Mercury conjunction in your 12th house. Wow. Well, you could be feeling like you're in your head a little bit. That is definitely possible. I could also see this being a situation where you may be a little stressed out about money or resources. There may be a need after the new moon that you had on the 1st to just focus on your own spiritual awareness. You might be retreating a little bit. This energy is normal right before your birthday. We have a lot of placements go through Aries, and that's in your 12th house where we're wrapping things up. So you might feel like you need your alone time, you need your space. But I think that with the Mercury conjunction happening in the 12th house, you're kind of saying to yourself, I need to let these financial worries go. I need to turn inward and really sit and meditate and reflect. It's really important to be aware of what thoughts are coming through, because Aries in the 12th house is like how anxiety can kind of get to you, or your mind is racing and there's a lot of like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and you can get overwhelmed. So I just want you to be aware of that energy. Now, on the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius is going to come into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. Now, this is a time to watch, okay? Because it's happening in your 10th house. Now, Mars rules your 7th house of relationships, and Saturn coming into conjunction with Mars makes me feel like you could have a bit of a power struggle at work. There can be a little bit of like a tit for tat going on with either somebody who's a superior, maybe even a parent. But it can represent some conflict in regards to who's in control in a relationship as well. So be mindful of that. I think with the Mars-Saturn conjunction, it's really dealing with whether or not you're fighting other people and like pushing back, especially because there's a lot of friction to Uranus in your sign. I think that it's a time to really focus on being a team player, working with a group, bringing a group of people in, and just really focusing on possibly even being a good leader or being a good business owner if you own your own business, and delegating tasks and learning to just really put the effort in. You're having to push very hard for the next couple of weeks in order to really see a lot of your goals come to fruition when it comes to your career. So it's very important for you to show up and to step up and try to keep the peace with everybody at work, even though there can be a little bit of some squabbling going on. On the 5th of the month, Venus enters into Pisces. Now, this is great because Venus is your chart ruler. It's moving into your 11th house of friends, goals, networking, and associations. Venus in this part of your chart will have a really nice kind of feel to it. I think that you're going to get invited to some like nice parties. Perhaps maybe you get invited to go and spend time with a couple. It's possible that you're just kind of reflecting now on your goals. It's kind of like this peaceful transit that's going to happen more so mid-month on until the end of April, where honestly, I feel like you can just enjoy a lot of time with your friends. Now, if you're single and you're going out and you're meeting people, pay attention, because you can find that you can meet people through parties and get-togethers. If you're invited to something, definitely go. There can be some really kind of whimsical and fun events and things that are taking place also later in the month. Now, on the 11th of the month, Jupiter in Pisces comes into a conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. And this is interesting too, because Jupiter is going to deal with expansion and Neptune is going to deal with your goals. And it almost feels like everything is kind of coming together. Perhaps maybe you're really like reflecting on just all of the hard work that you've been putting forth in your career, and now you feel like celebrating and telling a lot of people about your accomplishments, and your friends want to come together and help you do that. Some of you guys might be meeting people who are very connected, people who might be wealthy or have a lot of knowledge or kind of connections to people in other places. They can be literally in other countries or culturally different or diverse in some way. So look for that. On the 14th, Mars enters Pisces, and you've got a whole gangbusters of planets in your 11th house. My, oh my, I think your calendar is going to be quite busy. You're going to have lots of opportunities to go and have a good time. I do think that there's going to be people calling you, asking you to go out and do things and to socialize, and you just might have a lot of things on the agenda really for April going into May. It's going to be a very busy time for you, Taurus. Now, when Mars is in this part of your chart, I also feel like if it's not you, it can be a partner that's dragging you around, trying to get you to go to parties, get-togethers, gatherings. But it's a wonderful time with all of these planets in conjunction to Jupiter to align yourself with people who share common goals. Now, if you are partnered, you're talking to your partner a lot about those goals, what you hope to achieve, and really celebrating how far you've come. If you are single and you're mingling and you're open to it, be mindful you can be set up on blind dates or perhaps, kind of connect with somebody very unexpectedly, like I said, at a party. Then on the 17th of the month, Mercury in your sign of Taurus comes into conjunction with Uranus. So you're like the maverick, you're full of ideas, you're having all of these like money ideas coming to you, you're feeling very creative. It's like somebody turned a switch on, but your nervous system can be really kind of like on edge. Be mindful of like your caffeine intake. Be mindful of any stimulants or anything that you're taking in. I feel like with the Mercury-Uranus conjunction, you can feel kind of frazzled and that you're burning the candle at both ends, especially if you're really crunching numbers or if you're dealing with anything that's in regards to like money and resources. But can be a turning point where you have this epiphany and you realize like what you really value in life, right? Then on the 18th of the month, we see the Sun in Aries come into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. Now, this is interesting because it is squaring off, and that's going to be happening from your natal 12th house, the Sun in Aries, to Pluto in your 9th house. And it tells me that an old belief system is dying. You're releasing and letting go of something. You're making the conscious choice to go, I'm not going to let this scare me anymore. I'm going to let this be. I'm going to put this in the past. You may be dealing with an ending or a conclusion of something, especially if it's like in regards to legality. And there can also be just a little bit of some hiccups when it comes to traveling in general. So watch for that. On the 24th of the month, Mercury in your sign comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius. Ouch. So Mercury in your first house has you communicating. A square with Saturn in the 10th makes me feel like you've kind of found yourself at your wit's end where you might snap and you're like, look, don't tell me what to do. It might be the day where you come in and you don't feel like wearing a tie to work. You feel like kind of buzzing your hair, having a mohawk, piercing your nose, that kind of stuff. And there is friction between what your responsibilities are and this real need for freedom, or like this rebellious streak that you're having where you're like, I want to break free. I don't want to have to deal with this responsibility. I want to go my own way. I would recommend on the 24th, when this square happens, to just watch your words. There can be things that are said that can be hard to take back, and it can also just really hurt some feelings. So be careful what you say. On the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces comes into conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. Now, once again, this is important because Venus rules your sign. So this is happening in your 11th house. I feel like it's super amazing for big changes and transformations when it comes to your belief systems, when it comes to what your goals in life are. I feel like you can have this moment with a partnership or a relationship, possibly, where you're realizing that you're stronger with another person. Maybe you feel like you have the support of a partner or somebody who's willing to offer you resources so you can have more independence and go your own way. Regardless, this is a very sweet conjunction that's taking place for you. I feel like it can be a moment where you're starting to kind of see your dreams come into reality and you're really feeling more connected and more secure. Finally, on the 30th of the month, we are going to see a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. It's in your sign. Pay attention. A couple days before and a couple days after can be very active for you, okay? A new moon in your sign is a new opportunity to like wipe the slate clean. So if you want to have new intentions for yourself for the year, new goals for what you value, how you want to look, how you want to carry yourself, and just being more independent and focused on your body and how you feel in your skin, right? This is the time to do it. Now, being that the eclipse is going to involve the sun, the moon, and Uranus, realize that you're a little emotional, or there can be a sense of you being a little frazzled. Take it easy. The day is revolving around this eclipse. This eclipse is conjunct Uranus, like I said, and I think it's going to have you feeling a little bit moody, or a little bit like you're wanting to just break free once again from responsibility and kind of cut loose. Thankfully, it's going to be conjunct. We're going to see Venus, the ruler, is going to be conjunct Jupiter. So I think that it is sweet overall, especially for you. But there is something changing and revolving around your goals. So you want to look at how you're working and your goals. And if you're feeling like you're bogged down by responsibilities, if that means that you need to make changes and tweaks in regards to your value system so you can kind of better set your life up so you don't feel like you're super restricted, I would recommend that, okay? So it's going to be a very busy month for you, Taurus. Let's take a look and see what the cards have to say. The card that I get is the Five of Wands. Can't say I'm surprised by that one. Conflict, disagreements, pushback, tension, rivalry, challenges, clash of egos is like the big thing that I see with this card. So you see all the wands, they're going back and forth, they're kind of fighting each other off. You want to watch for being too competitive or being too aggressive. And that makes sense, right? With Saturn and Mars being in your 10th house, I feel like there can be this sense of being pushed over the edge or needing to kind of go back and forth toe to toe with another person. I would try to dial that back a little bit, because if that's something that's going on, whether it's like in a relationship, it's at work, it's in regards to the relationship with a family member, you're going to find that doing that does not necessarily benefit you. It can actually bring about a little bit more chaotic energy. Focus more on diffusing conflict. Obviously, some conflict is not going to be avoidable in the next month, so it is what it is. But what I would really recommend doing is trying not to add fuel to the fire and picking your battles wisely, okay? Good luck, Taurus. Next, we've got Gemini and Gemini rising. Welcome to April 2022. Hope you're doing well, Gemini. The month kicks off on the 2nd of April when the sun is in Aries conjunct Mercury in Aries. Now, this is a great energy because air fuels fire. It's happening in your 11th house, which is about friends and goals and associations. You're feeling social. Perhaps maybe you're really focused on calling people up, having a good time with them, reaching out to certain groups, bringing people together. It's involving Mercury, which is your chart ruler. One thing I would say is that if you get this instinctual impulse to call someone, call them. If a friend calls you and says, hey, I've got something perfect for you, you came to mind, follow that up. There's a lot of activity there with connecting with the right people at the right time. Take a chance, follow your hunches is the best advice that I can give you. And if that also means connecting other people, please do it. You're going to feel like you're accomplishing a lot when it comes to your goals, just in regards to life, but also feeling like you're bringing the right people together, and just everything's kind of coming together organically when it comes to your social life. Now, on the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius will come into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. Now, this is happening in your 9th house. Aquarius is a sister energy, so it is beneficial in that sense. But being that you're seeing Mars and Saturn coming together in the 9th, it makes me feel like you are having to almost refrain from hopping on a plane or going somewhere. There can be issues involving legality. So legal issues, lawsuits can come about with that Mars-Saturn energy, needing to kind of fight for something or fight back. There can also be just more hurdles and stuff that's complex when it comes to programs, education, traveling, or anything in regards to 9th house matters. Maybe you're committing to something and going, now is the time. This is the time for me to get help. This is the time for me to find the right teacher, the right mentor, for me to sign up for a course. So that's the other way that it can kind of play out for you. On the 5th of the month, we're going to see Venus enter into Pisces. Now, this is a great energy. It's in your 10th house. It's wonderful for you to really bring a little bit more of creativity, design, beauty into the mix. Venus hanging out with both Neptune and Jupiter is going to make you feel like that starry-eyed emoji where all of your dreams are coming true in regards to your career. It can have you believing in your career again or finding that perfect job. Nevertheless, Venus being in a mutable sign is going to be kind of in friction for you personally with your ascendant. And because Venus rules both your 5th house and your 12th house, there can be some secret romance going on behind the scenes at work. You can have some situations where you're meeting people who might be coming on to you or vice versa, and one of the two of you may not be available. So be mindful that there's a lot of like smoke and mirrors when it comes to romance, or even financial exchanges when it comes to your professional life. So you want to make sure that everything is kosher. Then on the 11th of the month, Jupiter in Pisces comes into a conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. Now this is interesting. Jupiter rules your 7th house of partnerships. Neptune rules your 10th house of career. Some of you guys are finding the perfect business partner. Some of you guys are finding the perfect investor. Some of you guys are changing your status. Suddenly you're going from being single to being married. You're going from being an employee to being a CEO. There's something going on about how other people view you, and you can be coming together with somebody in a way where you feel like you can rule the world. Equally, because it involves your 7th house ruler, it can be a time where if you are partnered, your partner is working with you in some way in regards to your career. They're helping you. They're bringing much more like aesthetic assistance and things like that into maybe even your appearance or how you're doing business in general. On the 14th, Mars enters Pisces as well. So we've got a Pisces party in your 10th house. You are so busy. I can't even wrap my head around it. I mean, it's going to be a month or two of just you having to go, 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 go. But with all the planets in Pisces in your 10th house, it's how are you using your intuition to guide the direction that you're going with your professional life? Are you listening to your intuition? Are you following your dreams? Are you seeing visions in bits and pieces? Are your energy levels ebbing and flowing so you have a different schedule day to day? Regardless, you have to keep the faith and you have to feel inspired. It's incredibly important for you to keep doing that in order to see some of these projects all the way through. You are going to be thrilled with how stuff is coming together, especially if you're somebody who's involved in like art, photography, film, music, anything in regards to cameras or lighting, or if you're somebody who works with therapy or the healing arts, the psychic arts, or maybe you do something in relation to the ocean or the sea. All of these things are the Venus, Neptune, Jupiter conjunction, which is super, super magical. Now on the 14th of the month, we had that. 14th of the month, Mars goes into Pisces. On the 17th, Mercury in Taurus comes into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. Now this is a big one because Mercury rules your chart. So the Mercury-Uranus conjunction is happening in your 12th house, and it makes me feel like there can be something that catches you off guard, that comes out of the blue. It can be a communication exchange you didn't see coming. It can be a little bit of strife maybe with a coworker or with a family member that's kind of going on behind the scenes. In your 12th house, it makes me feel like it can kind of blindside you, like you didn't see it coming. It can also be something that rattles you a little bit, and it's like changing in some way, especially because it has to do with your 9th house lord. So it's like some of you guys might be like, oh my God, I have to see an attorney to finalize this deal. Some of you guys are like, oh my goodness, my plane got canceled. Now I'm stuck in another city. Some of you guys may be in a situation where you get a phone call that there is a loved one that is having some health issues and you need to go home or you need to go and be with them, okay? I don't know how it's going to play out. Obviously, this is general, but I'm just letting you know that that day is a day to watch because it's going to be rattling a little bit. Listen to your intuition. Try to keep your nerves calm. I guess the positive side of the Mercury-Uranus conjunction in your 12th is that you can have a very prominent and symbolic dream, which can actually give you insight into the future, especially if you've been on the fence about making a decision. So watch for that. On the 18th of the month, Sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So the Sun's moving through your 11th house of goals and dreams and associations. Pluto is in your 8th house of joint resources. It makes me feel like this can be a time where you're having to really reevaluate what your goals are and whether or not they're in alignment with resources, like whether or not you can actually afford to push something through. There can be a bit of a power struggle that you have with a friend. It can be a moment where there is like a turning point in a friendship where it's like a friendship could get sexual, but it doesn't. Regardless, I would say watch for anything in regards to kind of blending friendships and sexuality. There can be a little bit of situationship energy happening there, and it can get a little sticky with that square. Regardless, the sun in Aries with a square to Pluto and Capricorn is just identifying like old monsters in the closet that might actually hinder us from being able to achieve our dreams. On the 24th of the month, we're going to see Mercury in Taurus come into a square with Saturn in Aquarius. Now, this is important to watch because it does involve, once again, your chart ruler. Now, Mercury is in your 12th house. It is coming into a square with Uranus in your 9th. This can be more unexpected, legal issues, more unexpected changes in your beliefs and your philosophy, more unexpected kind of travel plans, things that kind of go astray. And it does represent this need to really let some things go that you're stressed out about. And it can be really helpful to meditate or just have more downtime if you're feeling like a little wonky and a little overwhelmed. Because sometimes when you have planets going through your 12th house, you feel like you want to retreat and you can feel like a little mental, especially with Mercury being there. So watch for that. On the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces comes into a conjunction with Neptune in Pisces, and this is going to be feeling like things are being smoothed over at work, things are going very nicely. Be mindful, though, when it comes to resources and whether or not everything is kosher. So like if you're getting an investment or if you're getting ready to sign a deal or something that involves money, make sure you read all the fine print and look over all the details. It's very important that you do that. But if you are in something creative or more design oriented, I think it's going to turn out very beautifully with that conjunction between Venus and Neptune. Now on the 30th, you're going to have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus in your 12th house. Once again, representing this clearing energy, anything in regards to fears revolving around security. If you're wanting to get more down to basics when it comes to your spiritual practice, this is a great time to do it. A new moon eclipse in the 12th is going to really put an emphasis on how are you learning practical ways to connect with your higher self. Are you going for hikes? Are you grounding out your energy by hugging a tree? Are you working with crystals? Are you making time to go and be in nature? There's a need to ground your energy out. So this eclipse might have you feeling a little bit more mentally or emotionally overwhelmed and feeling like you need to rest. You are setting intentions about creating more opportunities for rest or relaxation and simplifying that process and learning to let go of any issues that you have with resources. Because this is ruled by Taurus, it's connected to Venus. So it's going to be really interesting to see Venus in a conjunction with Neptune and Jupiter in your 10th house of career. It does seem to kind of insinuate that all of your dreams are coming together. It's really important to keep the faith and have a very strong spiritual practice or meditation practice so you can kind of stay in this really high vibe manifestational space so we can keep that going for really for the rest of the year, right? For the next 6 months ahead, especially. So let's look at the cards and see what the cards have to say for you. So what does the tarot say for Gemini for the month ahead? Ooh, I get the Queen of Swords. Wonderful, wonderful card. Basically, it's just speaking your truth, right? It's getting it out there, saying everything you have to say. You have your moment in the spotlight really this month to just, give the pitches, make the, the projects kind of come to life, bring it to your bosses, release it to the world. There's going to be a real emphasis in just being direct with your communication, objective, logical, and being more so independent, really showing your intelligence and being very clear when it comes to your boundaries. Very important with this. All right, Gemini, good luck. Hope it goes well. We're going to move on now to Cancer and Cancer rising. How are you guys doing? Welcome to April of 2022. The month is going to kick off for you on the 2nd when the sun in Aries comes into conjunction with Mercury in Aries. So you are really just taking the lead and focusing on being very assertive when it comes to your goals with your career. Some of you guys are really focusing on starting new businesses, bringing businesses together, really aligning your vision with where you're going in the world, and being a lot more independent and just very courageous. Okay, so pay attention to business stuff. There can be a sense of you needing to manage stuff right around this day, especially right on the heels of the new moon. So if you're starting a new job or if you're looking for a new job, it's wonderful energy. Then on the 4th, you're going to see Mars in Aquarius come into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. Now, this conjunction is taking place in your 8th house. It does make me feel like there is a bit of a hang up with money, spending, resources, money that's saved. There may be a situation where you're taking savings and putting it into a new business. You're having to possibly take a little bit of a hit. Maybe you take a new job, but it has room for growth. Maybe you have to apply for a loan and it gets denied. Regardless of what happens, try to keep moving forward and keep in mind that it's really important for you to be sticking to your financial budget. You may feel like you have less resources than usual. There's no real easy way to put it. You may be feeling like you're lacking when it comes to support, and it's kind of making you feel in your feelings. Because Saturn rules both your 7th and your 8th house, it can be a time also where somebody cuts you off financially or emotionally, and you're kind of on your own and you have to figure it out on your own. There can also be issues with intimacy and connecting with another person because of that conjunction. On the 5th of the month, you're going to see Venus enter into Pisces, which is lovely. That is going to be taking place in your 9th house, and Pisces is a sister sign, so I feel like this can be a time where if you are having a little bit of frustration going on in a relationship, or maybe you are just needing a break, Venus going into the 9th house can be wonderful for you going and looking for a new home, considering moving. It can be great for going on like a vacation, getting away from it all, especially later in the month when Jupiter and Neptune are going to be conjunct Venus. Now, I think with Venus being there, for some of you, it can also represent having positive turnouts for new courses, classes, mentors. If you're going to be traveling, or if you are going to be starting anything in regards to publishing something, okay? So that is definitely positive. On the 11th of the month, then we're going to see Jupiter come into conjunction with Neptune. So that is going to be the Lord of your 6th house of health and wellness coming into conjunction with your 9th house. Some of you guys might adapt more spirituality, belief, yoga, meditation, prayer into your daily routine. Some of you guys may find that it's like you need some connection between spirituality and wellness coming together. You may be opting to make more time for travel. Regardless, that conjunction is pretty positive happening in your 9th house, and I feel like it's going to help you have a renewal when it comes to your faith and your belief system specifically. On the 14th, we're going to see that Mars enters into Pisces in your 9th house. And I'm wondering, are you traveling? Are you going somewhere? If you have to initiate a trip, if you have to start a course, if you have to move somewhere far away, if you have to get an attorney, if you have to get ready to publish a book or sell a course, this energy is going to help you. There is a ton of planets in your 9th house, Cancer. It supports you, and it's also supporting your spiritual growth. Wonderful time over the next month or two to really just go on a faraway trip, especially if it's a place near water or very spiritual, or if there's lots of opportunities to go to temples or churches or art galleries or anything, because this is all kind of the Piscean element. But Mars being there makes me wonder if you're having to start a new course or something, learning something new or a new technique for your job, possibly. On the 17th of the month, we're going to see Mercury in Taurus come into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. Now, this is happening in your 11th house. Really pay attention, because this may manifest as a situation where there is a bit of a back and forth that you're having with a friend, especially about budgeting or resources. Borrowing or lending money is stressful. Be careful. There can be conflicts that you have or arguments that you have with a friend or with a group or an association. Also, I feel like something is changing in regards to your goals when it comes to resources, and you're becoming more aware of needing to speak up and communicate where you're feeling a little emotionally, psychologically, or financially insecure. So do speak up if that comes up. On the 18th of the month, the sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. Now, the sun's moving through your 10th house of career. Pluto is your 7th house. It makes me feel like you are ready to have it out with somebody, whether it is a romantic partner, a business partner, somebody you work for, a boss. Watch your temper. There is a sense of wanting to dominate the situation. And in some cases, it can have some of you guys going, that's it, I quit, or we're breaking up, or I can't handle this anymore, or you kind of giving somebody an ultimatum and telling them that they need to kind of level up in some way, otherwise you're going to take the reins, and that can be a little bit more intense with all that cardinal energy because you are a cardinal sign, okay? So watch for that on the 18th. On the 24th of the month, we are going to see Mercury in Taurus come into a square with Saturn in Aquarius, okay? So once again, there is something going on where you're feeling a little rattled, and I don't know if it's because of the conjunction that you had between Mercury and Uranus on the 17th that was in your 12th house, where you're feeling a little like mentally out of sorts and you're just wigging out. But this is like the second act of this when Mercury comes into the square with Saturn, and I feel like maybe it's that turning point where like you kind of like reach out and you're asking for the support financially or emotionally of a friend or another person, and they don't give it to you. They're like, no, why am I going to do that? And it can be a little frazzling. So, you know, anything in regards to like exchanges with friends or exchanges with relationships this month look a little tense, to be honest with you. So I would just watch your words. On the 27th, we see Venus in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces, once again happening in your natal 9th house. Really wonderful energy. You can find love at a distance. You can have some hope or renewal or regeneration when it comes to love and relationships. It's possible that's when you're actually planning a trip or possibly even planning a wedding. I have seen when these conjunctions happen in the 9th house, people start talking about planning a wedding, or maybe a destination wedding, or maybe talking about a ceremony of some kind. So that is possible as well. But love can also be found at a distance or somebody who is culturally different. And then finally, on the 30th of the month, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. Now, this is taking place in your 11th house. So it's like you're clearing the slate when it comes to your goals. You're clearing the slate when it comes to your friendships, your associations. Yes, some friends may come or go. Yes, there can be friction in between friendships and relationships this month. I have seen some Cancer and Cancer rising charts where a friend doesn't like a girlfriend, or a girlfriend doesn't like a group of friends, and then there's friction. So that's kind of unavoidable this month. But I would say that with that new moon, I think it's really positive because it's going to give you the opportunity to realign your goals and also the people who you want to be friends with in general. Now, it's going to involve a conjunction between Venus and Jupiter, which is extremely sweet and abundant. And I feel like it is possible that there can be work that comes from friends. Friends can recommend you to somebody. They can help you get clients, help you make connections, and really expand if you're hoping to go deeper and further into some new professional endeavors. All right, Cancer, so let's take a look at what the tarot has to say for the month ahead. The card that I get for you is the Ten of Swords. So this is interesting because it does talk about endings, kind of feeling like maybe you got stabbed in the back, feeling like, you know, there's a crisis, you're dealing with a healing crisis, you're dealing with a wound, you're exhausted, maybe you're feeling like betrayed in some way. Not the easiest card, but at least this is an ending. So it's saying like, okay, enough is enough, wrapping it up. If, you know, there needs to be this definitive thing that happens in a friendship or in a relationship or whatever that is actually going to, you know, finalize it and finally kind of bring the ending, it would be because of this card. I would just remind you that you're very exhausted this month, and it almost feels like you don't have the energy to go back and forth with somebody. You would almost rather not. It almost seems like you need a break. Take your time. If you need more rest and recuperation, so be it. But if certain people leave your life this month, let them go. There will be lots of peace when they leave. All right, so hopefully that's helpful for you, Cancer. We're going to move on now to Leo and Leo rising. All right, so for Leo and Leo rising, welcome to April of 2022. Hope you're doing well. The month is going to kick off on April 2nd with the Sun in Aries conjunct Mercury in Aries. And this is in a fellow sister sign, a fire sign. So it is going to get things really moving and shaking for you. When the Sun and Mercury conjuncts in your 9th house, I think you're really reflecting on what your goals are, where you want to travel, where you're going with friends, what your beliefs are. And it's going to start this new opportunity for you to either focus on traveling, publishing, law, and just your belief system in general. So pay attention to that. It can be a very active time when it comes to planning trips or perhaps even joining programs, completing education programs, anything in regards to writing, storytelling, or you just planning a trip for yourself. That's quite possible with the Sun in Aries. On the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius comes into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius, and this is going to be in your 7th house of relationships. Leo, this can feel a bit like the Thunderdome for you, okay? There can be some brawls, some friction, some arguments, some fights going on with either friendships or with romantic relationship partners. Now, when Mars and Saturn come together, Mars wants to fight, Saturn wants to kind of like tailor it back a little bit. It's possible that there's some friction in regards to scheduling. Maybe you want to travel at a time that doesn't work for your partner, so you decide, hey, I'm going to go without you, and then they get kind of upset. Regardless, watch out for squabbles and conflict because of that Saturn-Mars conjunction. It does represent a turning point when it comes to what is and is not healthy relationships and what is worth fighting for. Now, you might feel like people are a little aggressive with you. If that's the case, just take a step back and try to avoid conflict. But by the same token, there are certain relationships and friendships that are worth fighting for. Now, on the 5th of the month, Venus enters into Pisces, goes into your 8th house. It's a very sensual placement. It's great for sex, bringing in more resources. You're going to see as the month goes on, there's more opportunities for investments to pay off, for you to receive lump sums, maybe even settlements, insurance payoffs, anything relating to people who want to invest in you, or maybe just good news revolving around paying something off or a loan going through. Now, when Venus is in your 8th house, it's bringing more resources to you. It's giving you more opportunity to go deeper when it comes to sex and sexuality. So it can be a very kind of steamy, intimate time when it comes to relationships. Then on the 11th, we're going to see Jupiter coming into conjunction with Neptune in Pisces. Now, Neptune rules Pisces in the 8th house. Jupiter rules your 5th house that deals with love and relationships and romance. It makes me feel like there's some hot and steamy things going on. Those of you guys who are looking for love, it might hit you like very unexpectedly, very sexy, very intimate, kind of secretive. It does feel very expansive though, and like this real merger with another person. I feel like those of you guys who are looking to get pregnant, this can be also a very fertile energy with this conjunction between Jupiter and Neptune. You're going deeper physically, sexually, emotionally with another person and learning to be more vulnerable. Then on the 14th of the month, you are going to see that Mars is going to join the mix and also enter Pisces. You got a stellium of planets in Pisces, all setting up in your 8th house. So you're having to heal and confront old wounds, go deeper spiritually and psychologically. But when Mars is in this part of your chart, really what it's going to do is I think it's just going to give you more passion, more momentum, possibly a willingness to also detox and clear things out, clear out habits, clear out old beliefs or anything that is hindering you from being able to be vulnerable, right? So pay attention for that as well. The 8th house does have this emphasis on taxes, sex, joint resources, investments, inheritances, or dealing with insurance in general. So there can be much more of that topic kind of coming up this month. However, it's likely to end pretty sweetly and probably for some of you guys with a bonus. Whether that's just making more money, something that pays off, something that comes out of nowhere. Look for that happening later in the month of April. Then we are going to have on the 17th, Mercury in Taurus comes into a conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. Now, this is something to watch for. This is going to be happening in your 10th house. It makes me feel like there is a need to pivot, change course, change up the way we communicate, especially with other people, especially when it comes to teams or groups in general. I get the impression that for you, goals are shifting at work or how you identify out in the world. It can be a moment where you have a genius idea and a meeting that really kind of ties it all together. Schedules can be a little rocky, so be mindful of that. I would also say that for you, this can bring up this theme of just needing to get the words out and needing to feel like you're able to feel in control or feel in charge of something when it comes to your career life. Then on the 18th of the month, we're going to see the Sun in Aries come into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So the Sun is in your 9th house of your beliefs, something in regards to travel, maybe even education, and it's in a square with Pluto in the 6th. Watch out, Leo. This is not a time to call out sick of work, assume that somebody's going to pick up the slack for you, assume that a coworker is going to have your back. There can be some issues here, especially if you're trying to kind of have an extended weekend or go to work, or go on a trip. Work may go a little haywire. I would also say there can be some power struggles in regards to just your schedule in general, and you can be feeling pulled to like want to have more freedom and want to travel, but you're getting bogged down with either maintaining a schedule at work or maintaining some kind of sense of responsibility to your lifestyle or your habits. So maybe it's like about managing a healthy lifestyle while you're traveling and not falling back into old patterns. So that's another way that that can play out for you. On the 24th, Mercury in Taurus comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius, and this is a time that is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable for you. You're going to be experiencing some major fixed squares, Leo, and when this sets up for you with Mercury square Saturn, you're going to see that Mercury is hanging out in your 10th house of business. It's all about showing up, going to work, getting the work done, staying on task, staying on schedule, business, business, business. When it squares off with Saturn in your 7th house, there's this feeling of either friends or partnerships are like, hey, are you making time for me? Is there enough time for me? Equally, there can be a little bit of hashing out some conflict or some drama in the workspace. You or a romantic partner could possibly just be really tied up with your schedule and kind of feeling like it's hard for you to come together, right? It's hard for you to find time to come together. And the power struggles are still kind of hanging around with that square. I have a feeling that there's just going to be a difference of opinion, and you want to watch out for power struggles or power playing romantic partners or friendships in general on the 24th. Now on the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, and this is going to be a conjunction in your 8th house. Be careful when it comes to exchanges financially, investments. Make sure that you're checking all your banking statements, that there's nobody that like hacks an account. If you are spending money while you're traveling or overseas, watch that it doesn't go missing or that people don't actually get some of your account information. There can be fraud or somebody that gets into something and actually takes something from you, because the 8th house can deal with crime. Now, on the flip side, I think the conjunction between Venus and Neptune is sexual healing, pleasure, having a good time, feeling very wined and dined and romanced. So it can be almost like starry-eyed, feeling really great and kind of drunk in love in a way. And then, the next couple days, as we get closer to the 30th of the month, you're going to see that we're going to have a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. Now, this will be taking place in your 10th house of career. There is lots changing in your professional zone. Some of you guys are starting businesses, launching businesses. You're going to have new positions. Some of you guys are saying goodbye to old roles. Regardless, a new moon in your 10th house is you leveling it up when it comes to your career, and there are big things happening there this year. So you're really rising to the occasion when it comes to responsibility. This is where you want to set new intentions for just having more control over your career or perhaps even your life in general. There can be more responsibility if you're a parent as well. This eclipse is a turning point, and it is ruled by Venus. And so Venus being about love, values, relationships, and that it is conjunct Jupiter, it makes me feel like there's only bigger, better things on the horizon for you moving forward. So I cannot stress this enough. It's going to be good. Don't worry. You're going to see this through. But if there are changes where suddenly a boss quits, you have more responsibility, maybe you get offered a better offer for another job and you have to suddenly quit. Maybe you just decide, you know what, forget it. I'm starting my own thing. Whatever happens, it's going to be a little rocky at first, but it's going to be for the better. So let's take a look at what the tarot cards have to say for the month ahead for you, Leo. The card that I get is the Four of Wands. It's interesting. Some of you guys may be feeling this push towards union, towards marriage, towards coming together with another person, celebrating your accomplishments. Certainly some of you guys are celebrating and kind of partying when it comes to maybe getting the job offer or landing the deal, getting the promotion. This is a card that's all about homecoming, family gatherings, union, stability, security, and just seeing all the pieces coming into play and really falling into place, right? And just kind of feeling like you're at the right time and the right place. So it's about harmony as well. So it kind of feels like, yes, there's a little bit of chaos, but the chaos was necessary for you to kind of come into this moment where everything is finally starting to kind of work in unison. And there is a lot to celebrate. There may be parties, reunions, gatherings, events, any of these things, or maybe you're just celebrating some major accomplishment. Regardless, it looks like it's going to be very positive, and in the end, it will turn out in your favor. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Leo. Looking forward to seeing how the month plays out for you. Virgo and Virgo rising. Virgo, welcome to April of 2022. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Let's see what the month has in store for you. So the month is going to kick off on April 2nd, where we have the Sun conjunct Mercury in Aries. Now, this is very important because Mercury rules your chart and it deals with information, conversations, working things out, thinking things through. Being that it's meeting with the Sun in your 8th house, there is something that might feel a little scary that needs to change. Now, it might mean that you're in your head about joint resources or security. It might mean that you're afraid to tackle an issue in regards to debt or maybe even taxes, or just whether or not you feel financially or psychologically secure with another person. I would advise you not to hide out from handling the situation. So if there's a bill that's looming, if there's a payment looming, or what have you, try to be proactive and really look at a way to combat this issue head on. It doesn't always have to be financially. It can be psychologically, it can be sexually, it can be with intimacy. It can be a breakthrough. So some of you guys who are going through like therapy or other kind of healing psychological modalities, it can be a turning point where you become aware of where you need to change or transform. So do rise to the occasion for that conjunction. On the 4th of the month, we're going to see Mars in Aquarius come into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. This is happening for you in your 6th house of daily routine. It looks to me like you're really focused and dedicated when it comes to having a turning point and committing to healthier habits or healthier lifestyle. Some of you guys are really committed to sobriety, kicking bad habits like drugs, smoking, alcohol. Some of you guys are just committing more regularly or routinely to going to the gym. Regardless of what you're committing to, it's important that you stay the course. Equally with the Mars-Saturn conjunction in your 6th, it's about receiving help or assistance. If you have been on the mend from having like a physical ailment or like an injury, it may be a turning point where you actually realize, hey, you know what? I need more assistance. I need to find a specialist. I need to get surgery, or I really need to address this and cut this out of my body or cut this out of my life. It is important for you also to be managing your schedule well and making time for things other than just busy work. So it can be about making time for friends, or equally, I think making time to be able to not just service others, but service yourself and focus more on being your own friend, and finding a way to kind of combine health and fitness with socializing. So I think of like group endeavors, group workout classes, things like that. With Mars and Saturn conjunct, be very careful. Don't try to overdo it. Really make sure if you're doing anything hardcore, wear your pads, your helmet. Be mindful of not like trying to force something, because some of you guys can have injuries that can come from this conjunction. Specifically issues with nerves or bones. Your digestion and your diet might be a little shaky as well. On the 5th of the month, Venus enters into the sign of Pisces in your 7th house. This is nice. It's setting up for a beautiful mid-April, all the way really until, the end of spring, early summer. There's new opportunities for relationships on the horizon. And when Venus goes into the 7th house, other people start kind of showing up who could or would partner with you. So it's important to stay open. A stellium of planets moving into Pisces this month tells me there is a lot of action in your relationship zone. For some of you, it can feel like happily ever after. Oh my goodness, this is the love of my life. This is what I've been waiting for. I've prayed for this. For other people, it can kind of feel like where love is at a distance and somebody's fading away or ghosting or not communicating efficiently, and you need to kind of feel the energy out before you stay committed. You may feel that you're more open to relationships. There may be themes this month coming up about whether or not you would relocate for love, whether or not love from the past comes back, whether or not you need to travel somewhere to visit someone. It's really an important month to watch for love, you more than most other signs, Virgo. Then on the 11th, Jupiter in Pisces conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. Now this is joining your 4th house home lord with your 7th house lord. This tells me you can meet somebody who's culturally diverse. Maybe they're from another city, a different country. Maybe it is somebody from your past who you're reconnecting with. Maybe you have to go home and visit them in some way. Maybe you're moving in with somebody and it's like a huge turning point, and it's a really big step forward when it comes to a romantic relationship in general. And you're looking at really setting up and playing house with a romantic partner. Then on the 14th, Mars enters Pisces, and we really start seeing this merger and this change and this transformation of coming together with another person and merging sexually, emotionally, spiritually, or financially really start to pick up steam. I gotta tell you guys, you're gonna have to leave me a comment and let me know, like, what has happened for the Virgos and the Virgo risings? Are some of you guys getting married? Are some of you guys getting engaged? Are you flying to another country and proposing to someone? Did you find the love of your life, but are they in another city? Did some romantic person from your past show back up? What happened? Because it is super, super active. Then on the 17th, Mercury in Taurus will conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Now this is important because Mercury rules your chart. So as Mercury moves into your 9th house of travel, philosophy, and distance, comes into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus, to me it seems like suddenly you have to make the time for something. The time to upgrade your beliefs, the time to join a course, the time to travel, the time to plan a move. There's something going on that involves you either going the distance in terms of your belief system, your education, or quite literally on a trip. It seems a little wonky. It might kind of feel like, oh my gosh, it's not the right timing. Something's not quite working out. I don't have time for this. And you might get a little ruffled, your feathers might get a little ruffled in the midst of this because it seems like it's going to be a little bit disruptive. And it's going to be something that's going to get worked out from the 17th through the end of the month. Those of you guys who are planning on getting married or trying to plan anything in regards to a wedding, I feel like it's a little stressful. Equally, if you're trying to travel for a wedding or anything like that, it can seem a little stressful. Then on the 18th of the month, the sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So the sun in your 8th house is shining a light on other people, joining with other people, joint resources, whether or not you're open to it, squares Pluto. So it's like bringing up this theme of like, am I going to get heartbroken again? Can I be vulnerable? Is it okay to show up in love? Am I going to feel supported? Is somebody else going to acknowledge me and possibly wounding that I have from past romantic issues or the inner child? So whenever the 5th and the 8th house square, there's some difference between just acting like we're in love and showing up and going through the motions of like having sex versus the actual merger. And there is a need to mature and level up when it comes to your love life. Look for challenges revolving around children and joint resources as well. It can be a turning point where the real merger comes from talking about merging finances or pregnancy, and that is the turning point for being able to go deeper in a relationship. Be careful with gambling with resources, gambling with your heart, anything that's like really taking chances. It doesn't always play out so well, and there can be some losses if you are not cautious. Then on the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius. So this is where some of the conflicts from the 17th is still playing out on the 24th. I feel like with Mercury in your 9th house of travel and philosophy squaring Saturn in Aquarius, it makes me feel like there needs to be some kind of commitment to a plan, commitment to travel, commitment to marriage. There can be this commitment to being on the same page with beliefs. And it feels like it's kind of in friction. Like there is basically possibly somebody who's even giving you an ultimatum that's like, look, you know, in order to do this, you need to get organized. You need to be on time. Like there can be a sense of having those conversations with people. You may feel a little bit like your daily routine is at odds with some of your goals and where you'd like to be going in life. And you're trying to organize your schedule in a way so you can get everything done accordingly. Be mindful that your beliefs revolving around your health are a little bit more challenging this day, and you can be getting a little kind of disgruntled with just like the daily grind and kind of feeling like it can be hard to break out of old patterns. Then on the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces conjuncts Neptune in Pisces in your 7th house of relationships. Now, this is a time where you really want to stay open because the conjunction will also be happening to Jupiter. Stay open. Likely the people you connect with may not always make sense. They might be so culturally diverse than you, or they may be from the past, but you don't know if you can trust them or take them back. It could also be falling in love with somebody who lives in a different city and you're like, how is this possible? On the flip side, be very careful for scams, love scams on the internet, meeting somebody who's like, wire me some money, right? Like kind of reminds me of like the Tinder swindler type stuff. Some Virgo and Virgo risings almost have on these love goggles right now where it's like all they see is this one person and they're super fixated on seeing that relationship through, but you want to make sure you don't get got. Be careful if they are asking you, you know, can I move there? Can I get documents to like live in your country? Will you put me on your lease? Put me in your will? Things like that. Just be mindful. It can be a little hazy, a little foggy. For the most part, though, the Venus, Jupiter, Neptune setup can be agony or ecstasy. So some of you guys will meet somebody who is like your savior. It's like your perfect match. You've prayed for them. You've waited for them. You've had dreams about them. But you need to make sure you're looking at the relationship with fresh eyes and making sure you're seeing them for what they really are and not putting them on a pedestal. Be careful and be mindful also that you can encounter people who can have issues with addiction or mental emotional issues with this conjunction. And it really may look better than it really is. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Then on the 30th of the month, we'll have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. Now this is happening in your 9th house, which does deal with your belief system, traveling, philosophy, publishing, law, legality, ceremonies. So something about that makes me wonder if some of you guys are deciding to legally be bound to someone, or you're dealing with a legal lawsuit, or perhaps maybe you're trying to figure out how to publish something or launch something and you're looking for the right people to kind of help you set that up. If you want to complete a program, start a new course, go on a trip, anything like that, this eclipse is going to start that energy for you. It's going to keep bringing up this same theme though, Virgo, that's like, if you want to change your beliefs, you have to actually change your daily routine. If you want to improve your health, you have to improve the way that you think and the way that you view the world and what your philosophy about life is. If you want to travel more and have more experiences, you need to make the time for it. So it's about streamlining your day-to-day life or your responsibilities at work so you can actually have the time to go and do this if you would like to, okay? Now, this eclipse is very potent. It's in a sister sign, so it's going to make positive aspects to whatever you have in Virgo. You will be receiving trines from this eclipse. So it's physical, changeable, earthly related shifts. Some of you guys might realize in order to facilitate a relationship, somebody's got to move. In order to move forward in a relationship, somebody's got to commit. There's a theme here between your 7th and your 9th house. Now, this is an eclipse ruled by Venus. Venus is conjunct Jupiter and Neptune in your 7th. So it tells me for the next 6 months, there's big changes ahead in regards to your relationships. And it can really feel very magical. So I'm excited to see how it manifests for you guys. Let's take a look at what the tarot has to say for the month ahead for you, Virgo. All right. The card that I get is the King of Wands. So for some of you guys, you may be encountering a very fierce and feisty, really charismatic, bold, charming man. Can be a fire sign, so it can be a Leo, or it can be a Sag or an Aries. It's about taking control, feeling very optimistic, feeling very confident. So if it's not about you meeting somebody, it's about you moving forward in this regard and really being willing to maintain the optimism and rise to the occasion, especially when it comes to just where you can go in your life and what your belief systems are. Sometimes when this comes up, it's about somebody who comes in that's very daring and very charming. So it can be about somebody who pushes you to want to achieve more, want to be just more passionate and being willing to go after what you want. In regards to you personally, creatively, it can kind of materialize as you just feeling a little bit more optimistic and just really willing to, I think, get outside of your comfort zone and maintain your optimism and your confidence as you move forward into some of these new arenas in your life. Creatively, very, very, very good. Okay, so very lusty, very romantic as well. All right, so now we are on to Libra and Libra rising. Libra, welcome to April of 2022. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. My, oh my, this is going to be an interesting time, Libra. On the 2nd of April, the sun comes into conjunction with Mercury in your 7th house of relationships. To me, it might feel like kind of backwards. You've got a lot of energy going through your house of relationships this month. There may be a sense of needing to communicate with a partner, needing to get something off of your chest, needing to kind of deal with a situation. It's possible that a romantic partner can pop out of nowhere, out of the blue, or a romantic partner can come in and communicate and share something with you that they have, you know, kind of been sitting on and thinking about for a little while. Look for important conversations with business, romantic partners in general, but you might be feeling the need to be a little bit more assertive, especially when it comes to your boundaries this month. Now, on the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius comes into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius in your 5th house, and you are committed to happiness, to joy, to what your heart wants, to being creative, to really kind of letting your confidence and creativity shine through. You can feel like you're really having to work hard to find time to have fun. Maybe you're just putting in a lot of time or hours, nurturing a project, taking care of a child, working really hard to stay positive and optimistic when it comes to your love life. Usually when Saturn and Mars kind of set up in the 5th, it can feel like there is this limitation in relationships and that relating is kind of difficult. Some of you guys are kind of feeling the restriction, the limitation, just in terms of your love life in general or self-expression. And you have to work a little bit harder to have fun. I mean, like that's the bottom line, right? You have to work a little bit harder to have fun. Now, being that Mars rules your 7th house, it's also about initiating things. So it's like initiating date nights, you know, focusing on making plans. You might have to feel like you have to schedule it out. Maybe your friends are out having fun and you're working long hours on a project and you just have to kind of maintain and remind yourself that you're in the process of giving birth to something. So some of you guys are literally trying to get pregnant. Some of you guys are pregnant and now you're having to change the way that you have fun. Now, on the 5th of the month, Venus enters into Pisces and it is your chart ruler, so this is important. The fact that Venus is going into your health zone tells me that it's all going to be about health and wellness and a much more pleasurable daily routine, better diet, better mental health, spiritual health, right? Later in the month, we'll see Venus come into conjunction with Neptune and also Jupiter, which is going to amplify health, but more in a sense of how you're integrating more peace and rest and harmony and creativity into your daily routine, and how you're feeling more inspired and that you're aligning yourself with a cause that is very important. And it may even have some kind of like give back element to it. But when Venus goes into your 6th house, I think that you're going to just find that you're fine-tuning your daily wellness in your routine, whether that's how you're eating or, you know, how you're working out. But it's beautiful. It has a different feeling to it. So some of you guys might want to be working out near water, doing like water aerobics. Maybe some of you guys want to practice yoga. And you're just integrating more of a little bit of like art or creativity to your daily routine. Then on the 11th of the month, Jupiter in Pisces is conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And this is cool because once again, it's building on that energy of your 6th house. That's like, how am I communicating and giving back to the community? How am I helping other people? You may feel a little overwhelmed with your schedule, but overwhelmed in a good way, because I have to tell you, Libra, you're so busy this month and next month. It's not even funny. It's almost like your dreams are coming together, but you're like, oh my goodness, like, you know, I just have a lot on my plate. It may be an opportunity for you to hire somebody to help you, especially if you need scheduling stuff, or if you need somebody to run errands for you. So if you need an assistant, or if you need a new doctor, or if you need somebody to kind of clean or organize your space, people can appear that can help you put this together to make the most of your time. Now on the 14th of the month, Mars enters into Pisces, and I feel like you can have a lot more aid and assistance from partners, whether that's romantic partners or just people who show up who want to kind of give you service and they want to help you. Mars going into your 6th house definitely tells me that there is an emphasis on just moving the body. And I would say like hot saunas, hot teas, hot herbs, steams, anything like that can be really positive. You want to stay hydrated, and you also just want to be aware that there is a lot of work to get done. Like, you're going to be like, holy cow, by the time you get to June, you're going to be, you're just going to be super busy. So just be mindful of that. But when Mars goes into Pisces, it is a little bit more inward. It's a little bit more emotional. So there can be this need for you to feel like over the next 6 months, you need to pace yourself a little bit and not bite off more than you can chew. I think it's setting up a new phase for you where you're becoming aware of where your day-to-day routine has kind of gotten you a little bit lost when it comes to your health, and helping you get more on track emotionally and spiritually, so you can physically start to see those shifts here in the future. On the 17th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus, and that is going to be an interesting time. That is setting up for you in your 8th house. It feels like if there has been any anxieties about finances, about security, if there are endings that happen, because Mercury also rules your 12th and your 9th house, there can be having to handle estate things, having to handle legal disputes, settlements, insurance stuff, and you can just be a little bit more anxious around the 18th with just the energies at play. Now, there can be some financial news that shows up that kind of throws you off a little bit. I'm wondering if like tax season is a little stressful for you, and just kind of managing and navigating and like handling that, or anything in regards to handling a budget. So watch for that conjunction, because I think that it will bring up some very insightful and sudden news that you need to hear in order to get back on track when it comes to your resources, especially if it's joint money with another person. Now on the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus will then square, on the 18th of the month, Sun in Aries will square Pluto in Capricorn. So the Sun in Aries in your 7th house of relationships is going to square off with Pluto in your 4th house. It is possible that you are dealing with a bit of a power struggle in regards to your home and family and a relationship. You are going to see that with the Sun in your 7th house, a partner or somebody in the family is going to go toe-to-toe with you about what they do or they don't like in regards to your home or even the past. So it does make me feel like relationships can be a little bit more combative, and you're being challenged to change and transform how you respond to things emotionally within your home when it comes to relationships. Then on the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius. So Mercury's hanging out in your 8th house, still digging through anything in regards to numbers, investments, inheritances, things like that. And it's squaring Saturn in your 5th house. So it does make me feel like you have to have some uncomfortable conversations about children, what you're spending on children, fertility, how you're feeling about love and relationships. If you really need to cut to the core and kind of cut to the chase when it comes to dating, have conversations about whether or not you guys are on the same page, whether or not you guys want children, whether or not you guys are communicating and sharing everything in regards to your feelings when it comes to your love life, right? There can be a lot of uncovering things about how other people feel that psychologically triggers you, and it can bring up some stuff and some past haunts from the past, right? Then on the 27th of the month, we're going to see Venus in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So that makes me feel like there is room for renewal, spiritual healing, maybe going and talking to a healer, a therapist, anybody who can help you work through anxiety, trauma, or fear. You may be one of the signs that benefits from going and seeing somebody who might actually help you, who has a background in hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy can be really helpful in helping you with like letting go of obsessive thoughts or anything that your body is holding on to, addictions, patterns, habits, anything like that, to help you kind of break through that. But when Venus comes into conjunction with Neptune, it does tell me that there can be some miraculous healing and finally letting go and releasing of what has been a health ailment for some time. Then on the 30th of the month, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, and that's taking place in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house, once again, deals with inheritances, joint resources, taxes, psychological triggers, but it's also about merger and going deeper with another person. A lot of you guys are changing and making lots of shifts with your taxes. Maybe you're filing different this year. Maybe you owe money. Maybe you're getting more money back. Regardless, whatever is moving around in regards to resources, it's very, very important to pay attention. The eclipse that's happening at the end of April on the 30th, and then also once again in mid-May, is definitely going to be kind of creating some shifts revolving around how you feel about your resources, especially if you're somebody who is self-employed or have children. Now, this eclipse is involving Venus, which is your chart ruler. It's conjunct Jupiter, so it tells me that all in all, it's for the better. There may be a sense of give and take. Maybe you bring more money in, but you got to pay more taxes. Maybe you make more money, but it's because you're merging with another person. Regardless, you have to look at legal documents, paperwork, you have to sign something. And it's just really important that you have those conversations about these topics this month. Let's take a look and see what the cards have to say for you in regards to the month ahead. So what does the tarot want Libra to know? We have the Sun card, which is kind of ironic, to be honest with you, with all of these energies going from your 7th house into your 8th house, right? So the Sun highlights, it brings happiness, it brings joy. This can be about pure positivity, vitality, warmth, positive outcome, confidence, sunshine, truth, but also possibly pregnancy. I gotta tell you, with some of the transits through your 5th house and an eclipse in your 8th, some of you guys may be finding out that you're pregnant, or be trying to get pregnant, or be finally uncovering something in regards to the core of something from your childhood, or perhaps maybe you're focused on creativity and changing and transforming the way that you express yourself. Regardless, even in spite of having some difficult transits, I do think that this is saying, hey, it's shining a light on something that's actually ultimately going to bring you more happiness and more joy. So it's important to focus on happiness, especially with Saturn going through your 5th house. I know it can feel like a bit of a killjoy, but when you start asking yourself, does this bring me happiness? Does this bring me joy? You're going to sort through things a whole lot faster. All right. So now on to Scorpio and Scorpio rising. What's up, Scorpio? How are you doing? Welcome to April 2022. The month kicks off with a conjunction between Mercury and the Sun in your 6th house. To me, it looks like there's this emphasis on doing things differently, changing your schedule, detoxing, committing to a routine. If you are wanting to diet, exercise, change, transform your body, focus on something, it's time to get to it, right? It's interesting that Aries is your 6th house, and it deals a lot with like crisis and a turning point, either with health or your schedule, that actually prompts you to make changes going into the future. Regardless, with this conjunction of Mercury and the Sun, I think it's time to detox or time to cut something out of your life. There can be a need for you to work somewhere new, find a new space, have more space when it comes to your office, organize your office space, rearrange something, and bring in some new energy. If you're feeling that, definitely do it. I think it's going to be really helpful, and it's also going to help you just have a clean slate. Important meetings and things pertaining to your schedule can be going on the 2nd as well. But you're feeling like a little bit more confident and like a self-starter when it comes to really getting things in motion, so you're feeling better organized or healthier in general. Then on the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius conjuncts Saturn in Aquarius. Now, this is going to be a more difficult energy for you. Mars is your chart ruler, so it's important to pay attention to where Mars goes. Mars in the 4th house can have you brawling with people you're living with, kind of getting into it with relatives, realizing you're hitting a wall with a situation when it comes to a home renovation or something relating to just, you know, moving in general. So you can find that you're trying to plan on moving, or there is enough friction that builds up in the family or within the home that you're like, I have to move. And there's just more limitation and responsibility for you when it comes to family. For some of you guys, it's like, oh my goodness, we're having a kid, we got to move, we need a bigger space. For other people, it's, you know what, I've outgrown my space, it's time for me to go, I need to fly the coop, my family's driving me crazy. There's lots of karmic things happening because Saturn is meeting with your sign in regards to your family. So it can feel like it's difficult, but by the same token, there is a need to kind of really grow up and rise to the occasion. Some of you guys might need to go home very quickly and see family or take care of a parent and help them with a home issue. Now, on the 5th of the month, Venus enters Pisces, which is going to be a nice break, getting Venus out of a Saturn-based sign where it's been for several months. Now Venus moves into your 5th house, which is very romantic, very creative. And I have to tell you, between Virgo and Scorpio, you two have the very best romance kind of transits with this Venus in Pisces. Now, Venus loves being in the 5th house. It's romantic. It's great for dates. It's great for dreaming and just feeling very connected and even saying I love you to somebody for the very first time. Now, when Venus is here, because it's a sister sign, it's making positive aspects to your planets. Venus rules your house of relationships, and it can be a time where you start talking seriously about expanding your relationships with another person. Then on the 14th, Mars enters into Pisces in your 5th house, and that is going to have you very kind of eager to fall in love, be creative, design, feel very inspired. So if you're a creative, it's a wonderful time. I think it's going to have you wanting to participate more in hobbies with a partner, honestly, and having more playtime or romantic time with a partner. With Mars and Venus being in your 5th house of love and children, you may be trying to get pregnant, talking about having a baby, perhaps maybe talking about getting married or getting engaged, because it's making sextiles to Uranus in your house of marriage. Now, what we're also going to see on the 17th is that Mercury in Taurus comes into a conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. This makes me feel like really from about the 14th through the 18th, there's lots of changes going on, and change can be scary for you, Scorpio. It can take you off guard, and I think it can be a situation where it's like scary because it's about being vulnerable, or scary because it's about putting yourself out there. Now, Mercury hanging out in a conjunction with Uranus in your relationship sector makes me feel like maybe a partner says to you, hey, I want to move in together. Hey, I want to get married. I want more. I want to commit more. Or they start talking to you about merging in some capacity financially. So it can be business partners as well. I would say to you that it can be sudden, it can be unexpected. For some people, this can be an unexpected proposal, an unexpected invitation to share a home. Regardless of how it plays out, I would say try to hear the other person out, because it does make me feel like even though there's going to be some hurdles in accomplishing whatever it is that they're proposing, for the most part, it's actually going to be pretty positive, and you'll see this come closer to the end of the month. Now, it can have your partner also seeming a little frazzled and stressed out, so be mindful of that as well. On the 18th, the sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So the sun is hanging out in your 6th house of routine. It's squaring your 3rd house of communication. Maybe it's stressful because you're like, oh my gosh, I have enough on my plate. My schedule is really crazy. I'm used to doing things a certain way. And you're stifled because it's making this square to Pluto. So it's making you learn how to communicate differently and in a way that's not going to be reactionary or confrontational, and remaining open. It's teaching you that you can change your patterns and your rhythms in life, and that it is possible for you to integrate change. And you're just letting go of negative ways of thinking or behaving, quite frankly. On the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into a square with Saturn in Aquarius, and this is something else to watch. Likely a partner is going to say to you that something needs to change within your home. They may not like the way that you're decorating something. They may have a different opinion on what they want to spend on rent or a mortgage. Maybe they tell you a secret, or the fact that they really don't jive with your family, or there's a little bit of friction with your family possibly that's coming up. That's because you're seeing the square from Mercury in your relationship sector to Saturn in your 4th. You want to be careful when it comes to mixing relationships and family, or when it comes to just coming together and moving in together. There can be a sense of moving in and then having conversations and realizing you have very different opinions on things later on. And it can bring a little bit of strife revolving around just how you communicate and how you're adjusting to change and being a little bit more vulnerable in a relationship. On the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces conjuncts Neptune in Pisces, and things do calm down a little bit towards the end of April, and it's going to be a nice relief because you're going to see Venus come in conjunction with Neptune. So this tells me that there is like this really romantic kind of otherworldly, falling in love, Disney fairy tale energy. Some of you guys may be deciding that this is the person you want to spend your life with, the perfect creative project that you've found. You're feeling very inspired. You're just creating a lot, working with art and screens maybe, or photography or filming perhaps. I could also see this being a time where, a partner lets you in on a goal of theirs, or they start talking to you about possibly having a child. Then on the 30th of the month, you have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, and it is in your 7th house of relationships. So this is definitely going to be very, very big, changing, transformative times for you, Scorpio. You've got eclipses in your house of marriage. You're also having an eclipse next month that's in your sign. So there's a lot of releasing and letting go of an old identity, moving into a new identity, and seeing that you have to leave part of your old life behind in order to come into a new partnership and find security through other people. Important people are coming into your life right now. Now, this is a time to set the stage for a clean slate in a relationship. So it can be make or break for some of you, but really important relationships are likely to come in. Now, this is an eclipse that's ruled by Venus, and Venus will be conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. So it tells me that at the very least, you're feeling inspired. At the very most, you're falling in love, talking about getting married, and maybe starting a family. But between all of the friction between relationships and home, it makes me feel like somebody might be giving you an ultimatum about moving forward in their life. And in order for you to move forward, you have to commit and possibly merge your home. So even though it's a little bit stressful in the beginning, it ends up being pretty positive later in the month, and especially going into May. So I'm really looking forward to see how it plays out for you. Equally, please leave me a comment. Let me know what's happening, what's going on, how it manifested for you, what ended up happening. I'd love to hear. Let's see what the tarot has to say for Scorpio for the month ahead. Can't say I'm surprised. Wheel of Fortune. Super positive card, good luck, fortune, destiny, a turning point, the universe is in control, karma, unexpected events. And keep in mind for everybody, but I'm going to say this to you, Scorpio, the conjunctions with Venus, Neptune, and Jupiter in your 5th house of romance, creativity, and children, it's funneling into your 7th house. So there may be this quick turning point in relationships, but it may be, something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone. So I would just say, keep in mind that there is higher energies at play. Karma, fate, the Wheel of Fortune, fated events happen around eclipses. Within that period of time, a couple weeks before and a couple weeks after, major life changes happen. And for you, it's for the better. This eclipse is saying for the next 6 months, you're going to see lots of positivity in regards to your love life, your creativity, and your relationships expand. So anything that's coming that's uncomfortable is just growing pains as you go into this. It is the time for some of these things to move forward. And to me, it looks like luck is on your side. Very positive for you. All right, so we've got Sag and Sag rising. Welcome to April 2022. Hope you're doing well. I'm very excited to look at the month ahead for you. We have the Sun and Mercury coming into a conjunction in Aries, and that is in your 5th house of romance. Now, this is happening on the 2nd of April. Aries is a sister sign for you, Sag, and for you to have the Sun and Mercury coming into the 5th house, you are ready for a vacation. You are ready to have playtime. I think you're very excited to possibly go on a date, travel somewhere, plan a trip, plan a holiday, just feeling more creative and like much more inspired. You're really feeling yourself and you're feeling your energy. With the Mercury conjunction, it makes me feel like you're possibly thinking about taking a creative endeavor, a hobby, and turning it possibly into a business and seeing if you can somehow either become self-employed or launch your own personal business or your own brand. It is very possible. Now on the 4th of the month, you're going to see that Mars in Aquarius will conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. Now this is happening in your 3rd house. It does tell me that it's very important for you to speak what's on your heart, to just come out with the words, to communicate, share, and express. But be mindful of how you communicate. There's a way to communicate that's about laying the boundaries without being too heavy-handed. It can be hard to kind of find that fine line. You may need to have a heart-to-heart with somebody. You may need to start a new website or maybe something promotionally or some social media relating to your creative projects. Maybe because you're traveling, you realize that you need a new car or you need to make a decision with a car or a vehicle. It's also possible that you need to really deal with important documents in order to travel, or maybe even like getting your license or renewing a registration of some kind. I do also get the impression that with this conjunction, it is kind of insinuating that somehow short distance trips are necessary right now. Somehow having important conversations with siblings can also be playing out as well. Then on the 5th of the month, Venus enters into Pisces and it goes into your 4th house, which is making your home feel very lovable, very romantic, very comfortable. Some of you guys are looking for a new place to live. Some of you guys are looking to buy a house or flip a house or renovate. Some of you guys are just trying to find the city that feels like home. Some of you guys are just experiencing more kind of downtime with your family, and it's very comfortable and very homey and you really love it. When Venus is in Pisces, I do think it gives you the opportunity also to reflect on the past and heal issues. You'll see this theme over the next month or two of like healing a lot of issues from the past, especially as it pertains to past love or your family in general. Then on the 11th of the month, Jupiter in Pisces conjuncts Neptune in Pisces. So this will also be in your 4th house. This is important because Jupiter is your chart ruler. He wants to bring you bigger and better things. So some of you guys are like, I'm moving to Spain. I'm moving to another country. I'm going to do a stint in another city. I want a bigger house. Let's expand the house. Let's renovate. And so I think with Jupiter and Neptune coming together, it's almost like you're really focusing on big plans, big goals when it comes to your inner emotional world and also your home and family. So there can be good news in the family. There can be lots of expansions, like people having babies, people coming to visit, marriages, celebrations, and parties. On the flip side, watch for issues with water, okay? If you guys aren't looking for a new place with a pool or looking to put a pool in, or maybe even be putting in like fountains or like working your kitchen or renovating your bathroom, there can be some plumbing issues that can come up for you this month. There can be waterworks and all kinds of issues. You're just really being in your emotions this month, okay? Now on the 14th of the month, Mars enters Pisces. Makes me feel like perhaps maybe there's like a little bit more of like a romantic time that you're spending at home with somebody. Maybe you're introducing a romantic partner to your family. Maybe there is just a sense of you organizing and rearranging and designing things within your home. Certainly that Mars energy can be conflicts if you're not careful. So sometimes just doing more home-oriented projects can be all that you need in order to kind of smooth the edges in regards to home and family tension. On the 17th, Mercury in Taurus conjuncts Uranus in Taurus, and this is happening in your 6th house of daily routine, health, and wellness. Now, this makes me feel like some of you guys are a little overwhelmed with changes in your schedule. Some of you guys are still trying to get to the bottom of habits and patterns that you have and why you have them and how to clear them out, or how to make healthier decisions or just habits in general when it comes to your work schedule or even health and fitness. I also get the impression there can be some stressful stuff going on in regards to like neighbors and communication with neighbors this month, or even just issues in regards to pets. So you might kind of feel like in terms of timing, you want to travel, you're trying to find somebody to cover your shift, and you also need somebody to like walk an animal or watch a dog for you or house sit. There's some kind of friction revolving around bringing all of this together. Then on the 18th of the month, the Sun in Aries moves into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So the Sun is in your 5th house of creativity, joy, children. It's squaring off with Pluto in your 2nd house. It makes me feel like you're dealing with issues relating to excess spending. You're really making sure you're not spending too much when it comes to a creative project or being self-employed or a hobby or maybe even dating. There is a tendency to go a little overboard, and you really want to watch on just not making yourself feel like you have to break the bank in order to feel like you're having fun. So you need to really kind of check resources and make sure you're staying in alignment with your own personal values or your spending limits. Then on the 24th, Mercury in Taurus squares with Saturn in Aquarius, and I feel like that's going to bring up some scheduling issues. You may have some things where people cancel on you. They have changes in their schedule. If you have clients, they might kind of leave you high and dry and not really give you a lot of notice. Just be mindful of that. I do feel like it's going to have you a little frazzled. You might be kind of frustrated because you're going to feel like, well, you know, I need to get a lot of work done before I go on this trip. Or, you know, I could have had this time to get stuff done on my to-do list. So you're going to feel like things aren't quite working within your schedule this month, especially towards the end of the month. But you know what? There's not really a lot you can do. I think with Saturn in Aquarius, it's telling you that it can be beneficial just to communicate efficiently. Sometimes updating things like software, apps, emails, making sure you're not missing stuff, because a lot of the scheduling issues can be avoided as long as you're on the up and up when it comes to scheduling softwares in general. On the 27th of the month, we're going to see Venus in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And in your 4th house, it's extra romantic. It feels great. To me, it feels like your home is coming together. You're hanging art, you're decorating. Maybe you have found the perfect home. Maybe you've been traveling until you find some place that feels like home. Regardless, that conjunction makes me feel like you're falling in love with a place, and you're also just healing and releasing and letting go of the past. Now on the 30th, then we're going to see a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, and this is going to be happening in your 6th house of health and daily routine. It is conjunct Uranus, which tells me that it's all about how you pivot, how you're willing to make changes, shift a little bit, shift the way that you think or communicate. Now, this can be a little frustrating, to be honest with you. You really want to pay attention to your health. Eclipses that happen in your 6th house can bring about some kind of health or healing crisis, specifically with your nervous system or anything in regards to like strains or sprains, specifically with the ankles or issues with your digestive tract. Be mindful that it can be brought up by stress, so it can be stress related. Nevertheless, this is a moon that is ruled by Venus, and you've got Venus conjunct your chart ruler and also Neptune in the 4th, so it makes me feel like if you are stressed out, if you are injured, if you are under the weather, there is somebody who is willing to stay in the home, help you, take care of you, help you mend, be on the mend, feel better. Maybe they'll feed you soup. Maybe you have a family member who wants to come stay with you and help you through the process. But it is laying the groundwork for you to focus more on your emotions and dealing with your emotions a lot better over the next 6 months, so you can have a healthier way of being and a healthier schedule and less nervousness in your daily routine. Let's see what the cards have to say for you. Okay, so I get the 7 of Cups. This is about like having choices and having options and like cutting through illusions. I think like eclipses in the 6th house can help you deal with like bad habits and where you're being too indecisive or wishful thinking, having too many options. So there can be a sense of like, if you're doing too much, then this card comes up as like helping you figure out, okay, how do I wind these options down? How do I get clarity? Right now, it feels like your judgment is a little clouded. You want to be in alignment. You want to feel like things are restored. And in order to do that, anything that is clouding your judgment or your ability to feel well can be coming up. Now, this can be like you going, okay, I'm not going to be drinking alcohol. I'm going to be getting up early. I'm taking supplements to help me focus. I'm meditating. Anything that's going to help you cut out distractions. And when I think of like the squares between your 3rd house and your 6th, I feel like if you're comparing yourself to people on social media, if you feel like you spend too much time on your screen or anything like that, this can be a wonderful card that's basically saying it's going to try to remove the distractions from your daily routine so you feel like you can be more productive and get things done. So be mindful of that. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Sag. Now we're going to move on to Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Welcome to April of 2022. It's nice to see you. Hopefully you're doing well, Cap. Wow. Well, the month kicks off with the Sun conjunct Mercury in Aries, and that is in your 4th house. I'm wondering what's going on. Are you looking for a new home? Do you want to move? Are you hoping to have your own place, have your own space? Are you feeling like you're wanting to be a little bit reserved and kind of on your own? There can be a sense of you thinking about going back home, visiting home in some sense, especially if it's far away. But I think there's a lot of communication with family and learning just to kind of communicate and express yourself emotionally a little bit more because of this conjunction. Then on the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius will conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, and this is happening in your second house of income and resources. Mars wants to spend money. Saturn says, no, we got to scale back. So it makes me feel like you're changing your spending habits because you know that you have to get your own place, or that there's going to be more responsibility for your cost of living, or you're saving money for a house, maybe you're planning a move, and you're just being a little bit more strict, and you're kind of budgeting yourself a little bit better when it comes to going out with your friends or what you're spending money on in terms of like food and entertainment. Nevertheless, with Mars and Saturn conjunct, part of you is going to want to go ham and spend something, and the other part of you is going to be like, no, we need to rein it in. So it's going to be some kind of contradicting energy because Saturn rules your chart. I think that you're going to practice restraint and also just really focus on building your self-esteem and really kind of sticking to your guns when it comes to saving money for some of your goals in the future, especially when it comes to your cost of living. Then on the 5th of the month, we're going to see Venus come into the sign of Pisces. So that is going to be entering into your 3rd house. It's going to have you communicate more sweetly. It's going to definitely bring lots of little love notes and positive messages and phone calls. You may find that over the month ahead, there's just much more kind of connecting with neighbors, talking to somebody on messaging. Possibly it's also going to give you the opportunity to start thinking about purchasing a vehicle or a new car. Now, some of you guys also may want to be learning a new language. So if you're thinking about that, you could do that. Picking up books on spirituality, mindfulness, anything in regards to meditation can also be a theme that's going on this month as well. With April 11th, we're going to see Jupiter in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So it does make me feel like you are definitely doing a lot of reflection and learning about self-awareness or self-help, possibly meditation, and once again, thinking about another language. Especially if you're thinking about traveling or going to a faraway place, it makes me feel like you're picking up on books or you're doing research on traveling to a new place. But with that conjunction, it also makes me feel like you're much more emotional in how you communicate. You're practicing mindfulness and maybe even doing more journaling or writing. So that way you can really get into the flow of manifestation and just getting the words across a little bit more peacefully or harmoniously. Then on the 14th of the month, Mars enters into Pisces. Now you've got Mars going into your 3rd house. I really get the vibe that some of you guys are moving, or some of you guys are thinking about going on a trip, or some of you guys are going to start writing something really prominent like a book, or you're taking a course, or maybe you're going to be buying a car. But with Mars going into Pisces, it is this setup that tells me that you're planning on going somewhere. So you're going to start seeing that action setting up there. Maybe you have the opportunity to work remotely because Mars does, for you, give you the ability to kind of work at a distance so you can kind of travel and continue to keep working if need be. Then on the 17th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. Now, this is going to be happening for you in your 5th house. Wow. This makes me feel like there can be love at a distance. You're falling in love with a creative project. You're learning more about teaching or working with younger people or children. Maybe there's like a long distance romantic relationship going on, or a long distance business relationship that's going on, and just a lot of back and forth between that person. Possibly feeling very inspired on the 17th with this conjunction. I also feel like it's going to give you the opportunity to have sudden meetings when it comes to love and romance. Then on the 18th of the month, the Sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So Sun is in Aries, it's in your 4th house, it's squaring Pluto. It's about how you are responding to family, how you are responding to change, transformation, and resources. Maybe there's increased costs going on at home, so you're having to chip in and pay more. Maybe there's a crisis with a family member, so you need to actually go and be home. That is possible. Regardless of what happens, there is some sense of you changing and transforming the way that you respond to crisis or the way that you respond to trauma, and you're doing it differently than you did in the past. Somehow you may be triggered by something that relates to the past. Watch for that. Then on the 24th of the month, we are going to see Mercury in Taurus come into a square with Saturn in Aquarius. So that is Mercury hanging out still in your 5th house of love, creativity, romance, children. It's squaring off with Saturn in your 2nd house. It's possible that You have to realign your love life with your values. You have to realign your hobbies with what you can or cannot afford. You may want to be more careful in indulging and spending a little bit more to impress a romantic partner, because it may break the bank in some way. And there's just a lot of you reevaluating your talents and whether or not it's fully being expressed when it comes to your creative endeavors. Finances revolving around lovers or children can also be a little bit more stressful at this time. Then on the 24th of the month, on the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces will conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So this is happening in your third house of communication. Super poetic, very creative, speaking from the heart, getting everything out in the open, sharing how you really feel, and communicating and expressing yourself very divinely. A great day if you're a writer, a great day if you just want to feel like you're in alignment, maybe reading some tarot cards, meditating more, meditating on messages. There can definitely be a lot of like inspiration that can come from a book or something that you read or something like that you get that has text. And it'll be like a sign from the universe, maybe that you're going in the right direction. But also I think it's about just having more inspiration when it comes to what direction you're going in, when it comes to your purpose in life in general. Last but not least, we've got the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, what's happening in your natal 5th house. So eclipses in the 5th house can be big unveils when it comes to creative projects or unveiling something in regards to a romantic partner or maybe even children or a pregnancy. Some of you guys who have been trying to get pregnant are going to find out that you are. Some of you guys who are pregnant are going to start telling people that you're pregnant because of this eclipse. It's also a great time to just start new creative projects, start focusing on, if you are self-employed, ways of promoting yourself and getting that out there. It's very creative and kind of theatrical, and I think it's definitely going to really kind of highlight your romantic life, because there's a lot of emphasis with the eclipses in the 5th house there of what you're creating, what you're showing the world, what you're producing, what you're giving birth to. And I think it also deals a lot with just really coming into your own personal talents. Now, during this time, we're going to see that the ruler of the eclipse, Venus in Pisces, is conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. So these conjunctions are happening, right, in a sign that's helping you speak out and express yourself. So I think some of you guys are going to start writing some things or saying some things or publishing some things that are going to be very, very, very creative, and it's going to kind of highlight something in regards to your creative process that is just now becoming visible. So very excited to see how that happens. Some of you guys might be acting or being on stage or just tapping into new ways of self-expression that I think is going to be rather positive for you, Capricorn. Let's see what the cards have to say for the month ahead. What do you need to know for April? Wow, get the World card. Everything is coming together in divine time, completion, integration, accomplishment. The bigger picture, evolution, harmony, and a sense of belonging. Super positive. This is the last card of the major arcana. It's saying that you learned your lesson, you're moving forward, you're evolving. This can also be about being like, yes, I was successful. Yes, I got the job. Yes, it was a positive launch. We were well received. Everything going in your favor and fulfillment. And the 5th house deals with fulfillment but joy, and I think that with that under the guise of like Taurus, it's like feeling financially fulfilled, feeling materially fulfilled, feeling like you have everything at your fingertips in order to make magic happen. Very, very positive for you. Excited to see how that plays out for you, Capricorn. You have to let me know. Now we're going to move on to Aquarius and Aquarius rising. How's it going, Aquarius? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to April 2022. The month kicks off with a Sun-Mercury conjunction in Aries in your 3rd house of communication. Important time to put the pen to paper, sign contracts, make phone calls, get all the busy work done. You're gonna be running around, having a little bit more meetings, or just noticing that you've got more errands than usual. But you're feeling like you can get it done. Air fills fire. So I think it's going to be really positive for you and just helping you speak out and be more courageous. Then on the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius comes into conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius. Please pay attention. this can be a day, give or take on each side, where you're having to be better with boundaries and how you are standing up for yourself. And you can be a little bit more confrontational and a little bit more reactionary than usual. There is a sense of you saying to somebody, you know, this is my line, don't cross it, I'm done. You want to be careful because you're more prone to accidents or lashing out or getting angry or reactionary. There can be a sense of you ending things, and just your body might feel a little bit more tense, or you might have a little bit more issues with mobility this day than usual. Then on the 5th of the month, Venus enters Pisces, and that's going to be happening in your second house of income. It's nice. It's going to bring you some sweetness. I think the month ahead, you're going to really see profits rise. You're going to bring in more money. You're going to feel more secure. You're going to be really kind of feeling yourself, and your self-esteem is going to be running high. But Venus in the second house is lovely. I do feel like it has you indulging a little bit more on food or aesthetics or art or anything that's just going to make you feel inspired. Then on the 11th of the month, we see Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Now, it's almost like your goals in regards to resources and security are starting to really all come together. That can be a time where you're like, is it too good to be true? Is this the real deal? Can I trust this? This was my goal. I always wanted to have this. It can be a number. It can be an object. It can be a piece of art. It can be a trip that comes out of nowhere, and the gift ends up being like a plane ticket, right? But I do think that it is like something that kind of comes out of the blue unexpectedly, and you're like, wow, this is too good to be true. Can I trust this? Be mindful with financial transactions with that conjunction. I would wait a day or two until it's over, just to make sure that your eyes are not deceiving you and that the money really is in the bank. Then on the 14th of the month, Mars enters Pisces. So it makes me feel like by the 14th, the money's there, or something's hit the account, or you know that you're going to get it and you're spending. But you're also focusing more on spending more in a sense of, I think, travel or vehicles. It could also be that you are spending money on courses or spending money on trips, or you're planning on going on a trip later in the end of spring, early summer. But when Mars enters into Pisces, there is this sense of like sometimes emotionally splurging, and you want to be mindful that you can have like kind of moments where you're kind of going trigger happy with like the credit card or the debit card, and there's just lots of like emotional spending that's happening because you're happy or sad or like all over the map. So just be mindful of that with Mars in your second house. On the 17th of the month, Mercury in Taurus conjuncts Uranus in Taurus, and this is going to be happening for you in your fourth house. Lots of communicating with your family, lots of talking about expenses and things that are going on within the home. It may be a situation where you're having to kind of tell your family, you know what, I'm moving, or, you know, this isn't working for me. I see a little bit of friction between the 17th and the end of the month between you and a relative or you and a living situation, which can get a little hairy. Really pay attention to these transits on the 17th, because with that Mercury-Uranus conjunction, the friction has already started, and you're already starting to see the bigger picture as to whether or not either you or a family member are moving out or moving away or making a big change within the home space. Then on the 18th of the month, the Sun in Aries comes into a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So the Sun is hanging out in your third house of communication. It's squaring Pluto in your 12th house, which means you're learning to communicate and express where you're afraid. You're telling people, hey, this is scary. I'm afraid this is going to happen. Or I no longer want to be communicating and reacting out of fear. And you're learning to communicate in a way that's much more courageous and not allowing Pluto to kind of like be in the driver's seat. So if there's been some conversations you've been afraid of having, or maybe you're kind of like, oh, I'm afraid this is going to happen, just be more mindful of your thoughts around that time. Now on the 24th of the month, Mercury in Taurus will square Saturn in Aquarius, and this is a day to watch because you are going to see that Mercury in your fourth house is squaring Saturn in your sign. Perhaps maybe there's a little bit of friction and kind of arguing back and forth with somebody, and you feel the need to kind of really throw down the gauntlet and be like, hey, this ain't working for me anymore, and you have some boundaries with a relative or a home or a living situation. It's almost like you're redefining where you're going in life, even if that means you have to go at it alone. Now on the 27th of the month, Venus in Pisces will conjunct Neptune in Pisces, and that's happening in your second house. You can be hopeful for the future with your resources. You can be fearful for the future with your resources. And I would say we don't want to give into fear because Venus is going to come into conjunction with Jupiter. So it does tell me that whatever is shifting in regards to your home and your financial situation, it's for the better. It's to give you more security and self-esteem and better relationship with yourself moving forward, even if that means you have to, like I said, go at it your own way. There's a lot more on your shoulders right now, responsibility-wise, when it comes to your life and when it comes to where you're living, and that may manifest as because you move out, because somebody can't pay the bills, because you need to move to a smaller space or a bigger space, somehow that affects your resources. Then on the 30th of the month, there's a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, and this is going to be taking place in your 4th house. A new moon means new opportunities in your 4th house of home. It's like maybe you're moving to a new place, maybe there's a new family member, maybe there's a second home, maybe you're buying land with intention of building. It is going to be in conjunction with your chart ruler, Uranus. So it tells me that you have a plan to either like buy space and bring people together, to buy a piece of land so you can build multiple properties. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to jump in and handle things for my family because things are a little kind of wacky. That is an eclipse I would watch for because I do feel like it's definitely going to affect you, as it will all of the fixed signs, but especially the next eclipse. So you're going to also see this in mid-May as well. But if you're hoping to move, sell a property, have a new change in your home, or just emotional renewal, this is going to be the eclipse that is going to bring that on. It's ruled by Venus, and Venus will be conjunct Jupiter and Neptune. So it makes me feel like for you, when it comes to making changes in your home or your well-being, family may have your back. They may want to collaborate with you and also invest or get involved financially or give you what you need to be comfortable. There will be a blessing that comes from all of this. All right, so let's take a look and see what the tarot has to say for you for the month ahead. So what does Aquarius need to know about the month of April? Ooh, Queen of Pentacles. Mind's on your money, your money's on your mind. There is a sense of you seeking security, stability, focusing more on being responsible, right? Being mature, practical, generous, welcoming. This can be about working with a parent, dealing with a parent, taking care of a parent, being a parent, or anything in regards to just focusing on a much more comfortable or luxurious lifestyle. When the Queen of Pentacles comes up, it can represent an older, mature woman in your life who could be an earth sign. Equally, it can just be about you focusing on how you can get more practical when it comes to your resources and your energy in general. How appropriate for a Taurus new moon. So if you want more security and stability, it looks like it's coming your way, but you're also having to pay attention to the much more feminine side of this, which is, you know, how do I nurture this rather than pushing it forward, if that makes sense. And last but not least, we've got Pisces. Hey Pisces, how is it going? Welcome to April of 2022. Hope you're doing well. We have the month that kicks off for you on the 2nd when the Sun in Aries is conjunct Mercury in Aries. Looks to me like there's lots of business stuff going on. You know, you're talking money, you're talking resources, perhaps maybe you're negotiating things. When you have Mercury, ruler of your 10th house of career and also 7th house of partnerships in your 2nd, you're partnering with other people and trying to figure out what they can do for you, what they bring to the table, and how you can actually improve your financial situation. Very strong business day for you, Pisces. On the 4th of the month, Mars in Aquarius conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, and that is in your natal 12th house. Ouch. That makes me feel like there's endings of friendships going on. There might be some friends that aren't communicative, some friends that seem to have gone MIA, they're not around, they've kind of dipped out in some way, you don't know where they are, or maybe it's just like this feeling that you're needing more rest and renewal and recuperation. Maybe you're healing from something. Maybe you need to go and see a doctor or a specialist. I can say sometimes this can manifest as finding out that you need a surgical procedure or finding yourself in a situation where you're in a hospital setting or in a setting that deals with healing in some kind of way. Specifically, anything in relation to like hospital, surgical settings. I mean, Aquarius can be about the nervous system, circulation. It can also be the ankles. But if there is a sense of you finding out that you need a surgical procedure, that can come about as a result of this transit. When Saturn is conjunct Mars, also there's just like a lot of feeling of like frustration and like you're stuck and you can't pull yourself out of something. It can literally just feel like you're very separated and isolated from the world right now. Stay with a meditative process. Take the time to really appreciate the time that you have alone to reflect and heal. Now, on the 5th of the month, Venus enters into your sign. So Venus will be in your sign, bringing much more abundance, love, beauty, sensuality to you. Oh my goodness, like I have to tell you, especially the second half of this month with some of these conjunctions, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising, take pictures. Go and get your hair, your makeup done, get some new clothes, go and do a photo shoot. You are going to get some of the most beautiful pictures of you with really big, beautiful, shining eyes and luxurious hair and all this stuff with Venus conjunct Jupiter and Neptune. But with Venus in your sign, you're seeming more Venusian, you're bringing more people in, and you seem a little bit more alluring and beautiful, more so than usual. You're also in a little bit more of a more peaceful mood. With April 11th, we're going to see Jupiter in Pisces, conjunct Neptune in Pisces, and it makes me feel like some of you guys are making the decision that you are going to be moving or traveling. One of the two things can be coming up for you. Jupiter obviously rules your 10th house of career, but when it's on your ascendant with Neptune, you're dreaming big about your future. Maybe you're thinking about the places you can go, the people that you can see. You're really starting to see your dreams become a reality, and you're feeling very in tune with the universe. Like your manifestation powers are so strong this and next month, it's not even funny. However, with Jupiter Neptune conjunct, it can also have you feeling really in your head, isolated, spiraling out, kind of alone. Those of you guys who are trying to focus on staying grounded, I would say staying away from drugs, alcohol, substances, things that are going to kind of pull you out of your body during some of these transits, and really focusing on staying grounded. Possibly being in water, listening to music, getting massages, going to the spa can be very helpful. On the 14th of the month, Mars enters your sign. So you've got Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune all in your sign. Holy Pisces party. Guys, how is it feeling for you? I get the impression that you're feeling very passionate and very adventurous, and you're just going after what you want. You're going after something in life, even if it seems like it's too big of a goal, or that you're really shooting for the moon. I guess even if you miss, you land among the stars. But still, it makes me feel like there is a sense of you either just being totally blissed out and going after something, or being totally convinced that something is going to be going in your favor. And some people can be like, okay, Earth to Pisces, like, where are you? What's going on? What are you doing? So at least you're feeling really amped up and really passionate and motivated. Now on the 17th of the month, Mercury in Taurus comes into a conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. That is happening for you in your 3rd house. So that is sporadic communication, very suddenly communicating. The mind is like firing, all the cylinders are going off. There is a sense of you just saying things very suddenly. You might be really in tune also with just what you're feeling, and what you're feeling is coming, and you start kind of putting that into motion by saying things or making plans. Specifically travel plans very suddenly can be happening, or very quickly you're deciding to move in some sense. Then on the 30th of the month, you have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. Now that is going to be happening for you in your 3rd house of communication. It's going to be conjunct Uranus, so it's very sudden. You're going to be seeing things happening very suddenly. I would say if you want to get a new vehicle, if you want to buy a new book, take a new program, plan a trip, something like that, something around the eclipse could happen. We could also see lots of communication. You're learning new things about money, trading apps, talking to neighbors, dealing with siblings. Now, from the 27th through the 30th, we're going to see that Venus in Pisces will be conjunct Neptune and also Jupiter. So this is the sweet spot between the 27th and the 30th, where you're extra abundant, extra attractive, extra vibrant, Like all eyes are on you. It's a great time to, like I said, take photos, promote yourself. That eclipse is a wonderful time to like have a book launch, a business launch, maybe just shortly after, or just put something really prominent out into the world that you have to say, specifically on social media or maybe even a website. If you're a writer and you want to launch something, I could see that happening for you as well. But yeah, I feel like the Jupiter, Venus, Neptune conjunction is going to be the sweetest to you, Pisces, you, Virgo, also maybe Scorpio. This is where we're going to see some of the sweet spots that are going to be happening. Extra manifestational, extra spiritual, extra romantic for you. So let's see what the cards have to say for the month ahead when it comes to romance, love, general, whatever. I mean, I'm so curious to see what card this is. All right, so what does Pisces need to know for the month ahead? Of course, it would be the Ten of Cups. I'm like waiting for the Pisces. Are you guys screaming? Are you guys screaming right now? I had a feeling it would be this card. Happiness, divine love, blissful relationship, harmony, family, stability, joy, love, support, union. This is the happily ever after card. This is everything playing out in your favor, everything coming together the way that you thought it would. This divine thing that you always hoped would happen, fulfillment, whether it's with yourself or another person. I do feel like it's feeling like you are complete, your cup is runneth over, emotional fulfillment times 10, a completion of emotional goals or unity. It's like having everything you've ever wanted. You might kind of look around and go, oh my gosh, this is too good to be true. Wow. Please let me know how this manifests for you. I'm very excited to see how it plays out. It looks like you're going to get everything that your heart desires. Very exciting for you, Pisces. All right, guys, hopefully this was helpful. I know these were a little long, so those of you guys who watched all the way through, thank you. Those of you guys who leave timestamps, you're the real MVPs. I appreciate it. Be sure to check out my weekly astro weather videos. We're going to go deep into the transits as they're happening. We'll talk about it. Equally, make sure you check out my April 2022 monthly address. We'll talk about all of the other transits that are on my list outside of what I brought up in this particular slideshow today. Let me know, do you like these horoscopes? Do you want to keep seeing them? Do you listen to them? Are they helpful? Where is it on the money? Where is it not? I'd love to hear how it's playing out for you. Even if you want to come back later in the month, leave me some comments below. And as I said earlier, if you want to take my course, check out the links. If you want to follow my social media, please do. I've got some pretty fire astro memes on my Instagram. And if you want to book a reading, I would be more than happy to look at your chart and look into what the stars have to say is coming for you in your life. Hopefully it is a very peaceful and abundant month ahead for you guys. I look forward to seeing how it plays out for everybody. I will see you next month with the May horoscopes. And like I said, stay tuned, and likely in the next week or two, I'm going to start putting out the eclipse videos, and we'll go deep into what the eclipses are going to bring in Taurus and Scorpio for each and every one of the 12 signs. I'll see all of you guys very soon. Enjoy your month. Take care.